What if I were to suggest that you play a key role in the awakening world? And that you are watching this because you have heard the call. We can start right now by opening our hearts and minds. Welcome to the awakening world.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Awakening World. I want to welcome everyone, those of our friends that are in the Zoom room watching, those of you who are watching on Facebook or one of the YouTube channels, and anybody watching the replay. We recognize that thousands of the views that we get are people watching the recording, the replay. So whether you're with us live or you're watching later, welcome. And I think you'll find that everything that takes place in tonight's show is very evergreen. But we also want to invite those of you that are watching live on one of the Facebook channels, and we're on over 100 Facebook channels. Thank you to John and Summer Raymer and the Sign Network for doing that. You can come on into our Zoom room, and it's easier for us to get your questions and to interact with you. And we've got some really extraordinary thinkers and presenters, and we would love to interact with you. So if you go to globalpeacetribe.com, register. It's free. When you click register, there's a promo code. Put in the promo code of new friend. That's what you are, a new friend to us. And then you'll get the links to all of our shows for between now and the end of June. And we do 3 shows every weekend, Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday, where we explore an incredible topic, a topic that's relating to this amazing awakening world that we're all a part of. And to share a little bit about tonight's topic, and really the topic of this weekend, I'm going to go straight to this wonderful colleague and co-host that I've so enjoyed working with. And this is Jennifer K. Hill. She is amazing. She is an author and entrepreneur. She has been radio host, television host, working with evolutionary leaders all around the world. And she's also created omheals.com. She's the co-founder of that. And we've done a couple of shows where we've highlighted some of the healers. She's brought 85 healers together and has a unique way to match people to the right healer, to the right facilitator, to the right counselor. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing that you're doing. Thank you, Jennifer. And what she's doing today, or tonight, I should say, is bringing together some of her friends that are true visionary thinkers to talk about a very important topic. And so tell us a little bit about our topic for the evening, and then as you introduce people, I'll pop the spotlight on them.
Yes, thank you so much, Scott. It's such a pleasure to have everyone here with us today as we continue to delve into this topic from yesterday evening, listening to the soul, empowering our purpose. And we began yesterday evening, for those of you who were with us, thank you. I saw many of you are back from yesterday. And yesterday we had Lion Goodman and Dr. Krista Luminaire with us, as well as Wendy Elwell. And we looked at listening to our soul, the individual soul. And then tonight, as we're speaking with thought leaders from around the world, several of my fellow evolutionary leaders who are just incredible visionaries, thought leaders, and inspirational thinkers. We're going to be talking about listening to our soul, to our collective soul, not just the individual. What if we are truly all one soul? And how, if that is true, do we empower our purpose? And we're going to hear from a dear friend who couldn't be here with us live, Dr. Jude Caravan, who pre-recorded with us from London to share her vision on something called the unitive narrative, which you're going to be hearing about how that does empower our purpose. We have Adam Hall here, who's actually one of the writers of the unitive narrative. He co-wrote it along with many other evolutionary leaders, part of what's called the Evolutionary Leader Group, founded by Barbara Marx Hubbard and Deepak Chopra back in 2008. So Adam is here. We have Julie Krull, Dr. Julie Krull from Good of the Whole, who has an incredible radio show, the Dr. Julie Show as well, and she's going to be sharing her wisdom. We also have our dear friend, Theresa Collins, who often co-hosts this show with Scott, and I would not be here with you if it wasn't for Theresa's beautiful introduction and inviting me to co-host here with her a few months ago. Theresa is co-founder of the Global Coherence Pulse, the Islands of Coherence, which has an ongoing retreat for 3 months focused on coherence, which we'll hear a little bit more about today. We have Jamishka, so the musical talent, will be joining us in a little bit and playing some beautiful uplifting music, as well as my dear friend, Dr. Mama Ivy, another fellow evolutionary leader, who will be sharing her incredible sonic vibrations with us. And I don't know if Ashley Lee is on right now, but Ashley Lee, who's actually a healer on the platform and a pioneer in consciousness, will be joining us a little bit later, along with Shakti Durga. Hi, Ashley. So good to see you, my friend. She's incredible. She was a nurse for 30 plus years and uses her intuitive abilities that she's had since childhood to be able to connect with children and parents in a beautiful way to uplift their souls and the consciousness of humanity. So Ashley, excited to speak with you later. And of course, we also have Shakti Durga. Shakti, there you are. I wasn't sure if you'd be here. I'm trying to be with the audience and be with you in that beautiful luminescent background that you have. Shakti Durga does incredible work. She was a barrister, an Australian barrister, turned energy healer and thought leader, pioneer in the energy medicine space. She has I'm going to do a quick plug here for Shakti Durga, a website called the WBI, W as in Walter, B as in boy, I as in igloo, .org. And God forbid you're struggling. Maybe you have COVID or somebody you know is going through depression or anxiety. I really can't plug this enough. They offer free healings. I've referred friends of mine who have been going through really tough times, and you just apply to see if you are eligible to receive a free healing, and most often you are. And so she and her healers do these free healings that other people donate, so that if you're ever struggling, talk about unitive consciousness, you can get the healing you need. And there's just such a wonderful team of healers. So I always want to plug that, Shakti Durga. I love the work you do. And I think we've covered just about everybody. Scott Omashar, of course, our in-house musical guest, Omashar. So he is the guy who makes everything possible musically. He's the guy who behind the scenes, not only does he play beautiful music, but without him, the show would not be possible. He's there guiding every one of our speakers and musical artists with getting the audio just right. So there's so much heart and soul and unitive consciousness that goes into this. So Omashar, thank you for all you do. And Debbie, I know we don't always get to thank you, but thank you to Debbie Johnston, who is producing and co-producing everything along with Scott in the background. So this show tonight, this weekend, is for you. We welcome your questions. We're going to be doing a lovely fireside chat after our first musical interlude with Dr. Mama Ivy. And this is really an opportunity to listen to our soul. What is your soul yearning to tell you? What is our soul as humanity yearning to tell us? So Scott, I'm going to turn it back over to you, my friend. I think you're muted, my friend.
Jennifer, we had that you're going to show the Jude Caravan video first and then have Ivy play. So
yes, you're absolutely right. Thank you for reminding me of that, Scott. So we'll show the Jude Caravan video first, That way, everybody has a context for the come from for this weekend. And then we'll go over to Dr. Mama Ivy. Thank you for that reminder, Scott.
Today on Awakening World, I am so grateful to have a dear new friend and soul sister with us here today, Jude Caravan, world-renowned author, cosmologist, among many other accolades, and a co-participant, co-creator in something that is being called the unitive narrative, about giving humanity access to stepping into a reality based on cooperation instead of competition. So Jude, what a pleasure to have you here, my friend, and perhaps you could give us a little backstory on how it was that the unitive narrative was birthed.
Thank you, Jennifer. It's wonderful to be with you. And I was on a conversation earlier today on the topic of intuition and synchronicities. And in that conversation, I realized the depth of how the unitive narrative came to be in terms of the synchronicities and the intuitive alignment with what seemed to be coming through. So the backstory is that during last year, a group of evolutionary leaders, including myself, convened a group of thought leaders that had been associated with the United Nations and the SDGs and the implementation of the SDGs for many, many years, and were feeling that they weren't going to happen, really. They weren't going to be implemented effectively because if you like, the mindset, the perspectives that they were being seen by and described as were effectively based on a worldview of materialist separation. And I know a lot of the people involved in crafting the SDGs were not coming from that perspective, but generally they were dealing with a global perspective, a global paradigm that was a world of separation. And so each of the SDGs were essentially siloed.
Yeah, I paused you there. I just want to give everyone a context for people who might not know what the SDGs are and what the goals were. I believe it's the Sustainable Development Goals for the United Nations 2030. Is that correct?
They are indeed.
And
they
came... give people a
context. And actually they were extraordinary because they were signed off by 193 countries. Wow. Which is an amazing achievement. And they are really still very powerful opportunities for everyone globally to come together. And they talk to things like gender equality, education for all, clean water, all the things that as human beings we all want for ourselves. So how can we have this for our global family of humanity? But there was a realization from these thought leaders that with a worldview as it was, they weren't going to happen, because people were very much coming from that separation and trying to cooperate. But so last summer, people came together and started to have conversations of what could change, what might change the game, what might flip the script, what might bring forward something that was able to support and empower an effective implementation of those SDGs, and an agenda called 2030, which is actually to implement them by the end of this decade. And so in the meetings that followed all the way through last summer, fall into the winter, there was a consensus of the need for a new and unitive narrative, which is a narrative not based on separation and materiality, but a narrative based on unity, on the wholeness of all that is. And what was so exciting was that at the time that there was a feeling that we needed a unitive narrative, voila, we have the evidence that shows that such a unitive narrative is based on leading edge scientific breakthroughs and discoveries at all scales of existence and many, many fields of research. So we're able to craft as a group, as a circle, a unitive narrative, which had the context of this need for one at this point in time, this recognition that any such narrative had to be authentic and based on, as it is, evidence. And thirdly, that it, like all narratives that we've told to ourselves throughout time, how do we reconcile our inner and outer experiences of what it means to be human? And how do we offer our experiences, inner and outer, meaning and purpose? And that's what this unitive narrative does, because it shows a universe that meaningfully exists and purposefully evolves as a unified entity, and of which that unity is expressed in diversity, but not separation. Discovered that we truly are inseparable, and also that we are microcosmic co-creators of our universe. You know, we're co-evolutionary partners with our entire universe and our planetary home, Gaia.
So powerful, Jude. From the moment you and I first connected on an evolutionary leaders call a few months ago, that you said the words unitive narrative, and my spidey sense went up ding, 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 and I said, I don't know how, Jude, though let me come play in the sandbox of consciousness with you. And ever since, these conversations have been evolving. Of course, we have Adam Hall about to join us next, and Julie Krull and Theresa Collins, and we're going to continue this conversation as it pertains to listening to our soul and how we can empower ourselves, empowering our purpose. And what if that is our purpose? What if our purpose is to be cooperative, is to shift the way we think about things? And I really want to acknowledge you, Jude, because it's easy to talk about this in an esoteric way, and yet you really embody it. Jude and her husband and I were recently on a walk in a park near her house, and I really was inspired because Jude didn't see it as someone else's trash. There was trash, little pieces here or there as we're walking along this path. And every time Jude would immediately stop, whether it was a rubber band. And you've inspired me, Jude. You really have, by not only these beautiful words that you and the other evolutionary leaders and thought leaders came together and created, and most importantly, by your actions, because it's really our action multiplied by our intention or our words that gives us how the world shows up. So thank you for embodying that and for sharing your love and your heart in this project. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you, my dear Jennifer. Thank you so much. And what a wonderful time for us all. I don't just mean, us. I mean, this is an invitation to everyone. This is an invitation to a new adventure that humanity has never entered into before. This is an adventure, an invitation to us to consciously evolve.
Yeah, and to choose, to put our lens on it. It's not meant to be Jude's unitive narrative or Jennifer or Scott's narrative. It's meant to be our unitive narrative. And what if we could see the world through the lens of, instead of it being your trash, your problems, it could be ours. If one person is impacted, we saw this more than ever before during COVID in 2020, where we were all siloed and, living our own singular lives. And then boom, in a moment, we saw the interweaving, that Indra's net of how we're all interconnected. And just the other day, I was on a call with a friend, and she was really going through a tough time. And after about 40 minutes, 35 of which she was talking, she said, "Oh, Jen, I'm so sorry. I just realized that I was just monologuing here, and I'm sorry you had to listen to that." And I said, when you're struggling, your struggle I now see isn't your struggle, it's our struggle. So whenever somebody is going through that, it's how would the world shift? How would economics, education, and everything in the world shift if that was the lens, as I like to see, like little heart lens that we saw the world through? So thank you, Jude. Any closing thoughts before we turn it over to Adam and Julie and Theresa?
Yeah, what you were just saying just reminded me of what Einstein talked about, the circle of compassion. And of course, he was a great pioneer, and he had this same worldview of unity in diversity. He had a worldview where all that we call reality, mind and consciousness aren't what we have, they literally are what we are and the whole world are. So we are inseparable. So this is a science of love that joins us, that connects us, that empowers us, that can inspire us to link up and lift up together. So I would just invite everybody, and I know Adam and Julie will be saying, come on in, join the adventure. We're all saying very much this, that this is a new adventure and it's open to everyone, and everyone is welcome.
Thank you, Jude. Thank you for your soul, your light, and everything you do, and everything that we will never know that you do behind the scenes, working arduously late and early, working on the science, and just most importantly, sharing your heart with the world in all of your beautiful books and everything you do. And so thank you, Jude. You are a gift to humanity, and we are grateful to have you with us.
Thank you, my dear friend. God bless. And I'm so wanting to hear what Julie and Adam have to say.
And Theresa's joining us too. She's in the middle of the Islands of
Oh,
Coherence.
Teresa, excellent. Oh, that's
Going to be there,
wonderful.
so we're all going to engage in this, and I think
Love
Shakti
that.
Durga is going to join us. So we have so much fun and so much in store for everybody as we continue to explore what does listening to our soul and empowering our purpose really mean.
Absolutely. Bless you, my dear friend, and thank you.
Oh, Scott, we can't hear you, my friend.
What an angelic soul. You both are, actually. As I was looking, you was like, well, yeah, you too. So yeah, that's very, very lovely. Very lovely.
Yes, and thank you to everybody's comments in the chat. We heard some great comments from Dr. Laura and Carol, and so many people are already offering their interpretation. Daniela, I think it's about inquiry. So people have concerns about, well, what is the intention of this? And again, the narrative was originally written with the 2030 Sustainability Development Goals in mind, but as that evolved, just as we as human beings and our souls evolve, we realized that it's a paradigm shift. It has so little to do with the 2030 goals and so much to do with how can we be sure that everyone has what they need, that all of our hearts, minds, bodies, and spirits are nourished in whatever we need, whether that's spiritually, sustenance, physically, etc. And so it's about creating an entirely different paradigm, which is the inquiry that we're going to engage in up next in our fireside chat after Dr. Ivy shares. Scott, would you like me to say a few words about Dr. Ivy before we go to her?
Absolutely. If you want to introduce her, that would be wonderful.
Yes. Oh, Dr. Ivy, I just love you. That's it. It's the only introduction. Dr. Ivy, we connected at our mutual friend, Sister Jenna's retreat. Sister Jenna, who's another beautiful soul sister, we connected a few years ago. And I remember the first time I heard Ivy's music, my whole physical being and my soul started to tingle, because that's what Dr. Ivy's sound vibronics does. She is so many things: hypnotherapist, evolutionary leader, Reiki master, yoga nidra teacher. And what she's going to be sharing with us today is some of her musical inspiration. She's also a healer with us on the Om-Heals platform. And so Dr. Ivy has her own drivysoundspa.com that I'll be sure to put in the chat as well. And I invite you to just kind of open up and surrender and allow the music to wash over you in the vibration. So as we engage in this inquiry tonight, that we all come into greater coherence. And Ivy, I just love you, my friend, and I turn it over to you.
Thank you, my beloved friend, in this beautiful platform. So right now, I wanted to just say what really inspired me, Jennifer, is when you are encouraging us to listen to the soul. That is where we find the peace, where we find the deep peace, where we find the answers to what we're looking for to fulfill our purpose. And so I encourage you and invite you all to just begin to take a deep breath in through the nose, filling your entire being with air. And as you exhale, allow your awareness to focus to the center of your forehead, right there where the soul resides. And begin to allow the light to flow into your soul. Light is an ancient symbol of understanding the divine. Light conquers darkness and brings order. in your mind's eye. Allow that light to shine. And as you look into that light, you see the center of your being. And it is filled with infinite love. Allow that love to flow to the surface as it fills your heart, your mind, and your soul. Feeling this love as it radiates out through you in all directions and returns multiplied. Searching as you use your soul language to guide your spirit. Deep peace lives inside of you. And you are peace. My heart, my mind, my spirit feels alive and deep. My soul is one with my spirit, and I am free. My soul is one with my spirit, and the world is whole. Deep peace dwells within me. Deep peace lives inside of me. Shakti.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ivy. I so appreciate your beautiful contributions. And Dr. Ivy's been on our show several times over the past few months because there's so many things she's involved in. And I want to take a moment to highlight something we haven't highlighted before, which is your Heartstrings project. And Dr. Ivy, again, there's so many different things you're involved in, but tell us a little bit about the Heartstring project.
Well, the Heartstrings Project is something that I came to understand as a person who is now experiencing the throes of the American, I want to call it an injustice system at this point. I used to believe in strong justice, and I still do, but in our system, we have to do what we need to do as citizens to be sure that our system is serving people that have been harmed on both sides of crime. A lot of times we don't think about the parents, the mothers, the sisters, the children that have been impacted when their loved ones have become incarcerated. And just trying to manage what goes on in the American justice system is killing a lot of mothers from the stress and from the trauma. And so I wanted to be able to go to these mothers and share an opportunity to learn how to find your purpose, how to listen to your soul, how to survive the trauma of the American criminal justice system. And parents like myself have never committed a crime. But because of how our system operates and treats just people like me, it is literally affecting our health and in some cases causing stress that takes the life of those that have loved ones that are in the criminal justice system. So we teach mothering, we teach healing, and I take mothers on spa journeys. I take them to different spas around the country and expose them to what self-care really looks like during this time of trauma. So that's the Heartstrings Project.
God bless you. That is, and I want to acknowledge how delicately and beautifully you expressed that, because it's a razor's edge. And I
Yes,
so resonate with the way you think, and I so admire who you are on so many levels. Of course, as a musical artist, but even more so as a human being who's living. God is using you well. Life is using you well, as
And
Reverend Michael would
thank you
say.
so much. Thank you so much for this opportunity. And Jennifer, you know how I feel about you. That loving spirit that you are pours throughout the entire universe. And no better leader to follow than you and Scott. Bless you.
Thank you, Dr.
And I
Ivy.
want to add Theresa too.
Yeah. And Dr. Ivy will be back. Again, people are asking, it's the Heartstrings, plural, heartstringsproject.com. And please go take a look at it and help support it. And Dr. Ivy will be back for another offering a little bit later on in the evening. Jennifer, you have put together an amazing group of people for a fireside, an awakening world fireside chat. Tell us what you've got in mind and introduce your guests.
Yes, thank you so much, Scott. And thank you, Ivy. I mean, I would be remiss if we just didn't honor you and the beautiful soul that you are. We have so many words coming through the chat, just of love pouring out for you, for your projects, for your music. And what a beautiful soul you are inside and out. And that's how I felt the moment you and I connected. So I just acknowledge you. And everybody says you look beautiful in that color, by the way, which I agree. So much love to you, my friend. And now we move on to the part of the show where we're going to talk about more in depth the unitive narrative. And we encourage you, please share your thoughts, share your wisdom. The idea with this unitive narrative, in the next month or so, we're going to begin doing monthly calls, Ask Me Anything calls, AMA calls, and opportunities that will be facilitated by some of the people who are here on the panel tonight, by Jude Caravan, some of the other co-authors of the unitive narrative. There are so many wonderful projects, which we're going to get into here in a moment. So let me reintroduce you to some of our panelists here today who are going to be speaking in this fireside chat about the unitive narrative. So we know Theresa Collins. Theresa Collins is incredible. She's co-hosted this show many times. She is the co-founder of the Islands of Coherence, as well as the co-founder of the Global Coherence Pulse, which just happened earlier today. So you can still go to the globalcoherencepulse.org and you'll be able to get the replay of that and all of the prior pulse, as well as sign up for new ones. So do check that out. And Theresa Collins came on board with the Unitive Narrative Project. She and Julie Krull, who we're going to bring on next, is another incredible soul as well. And Julie, again, is founder of Good of the Whole, the Dr. Julie radio show, just transforming. She's won Nautilus Awards, best-selling author, creative, incredible genius in all she does, as well as an evolutionary leader. And I know she's co-facilitating the Islands of Coherence retreat with Theresa as well. And then, of course, we have Adam Hall with us. Adam Hall is a serial entrepreneur who has, brought into the world and birthed so many projects. He is just somebody who gives of his heart, and he is not afraid to cause people to think about things in a new way. What I love is Adam, of course, was one of the co-writers of the unitive narrative. And in the calls, I love that Adam is not afraid to ask us, well, what about this? And how can this really benefit? And he really likes to see things from a different angle and push us all to do the same. So each of you, it is such a pleasure to have you here. And Adam, I know you were sharing a little bit in the pre-show, but as one of the writers of the unitive narrative, perhaps you could just give a little context for the unitive narrative, building upon what Jude shared earlier and how this project came to be and why it matters.
Well, thank you, Jennifer. And it's wonderful to be here with everybody. I'm always thrilled to be in the presence of so many people on this amazing planet we share. And it's evening time here in my home in Santa Barbara, and sitting around this fire warms my soul very much so. So thank you. Thank you all for coming. And thank you all for your curiosity to explore the unitive new narrative and all that it really offers. And one of the interesting things in our journey to coming to the narrative and in the languaging of the narrative and the synthesis of that, and finding really just the quintessence of the love that it holds, as Jude was sharing, and the invitation that it offers to all of us to remember the indelible nature of our collective soul that we've been speaking to, of our collective heart, of our collective eyes and ears as we come together during, which is what is looking to be an extraordinary time. And it's been spoken of over the millennia of the time that we now are in, be it from the Mayans or the mystics, or on and on and on. And how blessed are we to be here together, to come to this time of great earth changes. I'm thrilled to be here in all of my fallibilities and all of my learning and unlearning, as I say. And the unitive new narrative is near and dear to my own journey, simply because I lived a very narcissistic existence as a businessman, as a serial entrepreneur, my way or the highway, dog-eat-dog world that very much has been defining the culture that we live within, our economics, our politics, the dominance of the patriarchal system. And it's things that we all know about. And we're seeing these dramatic effects of it on Mother Earth. And it's called me deeply to come into a place of my own unitive narrative. I mean, who amongst us doesn't have those moments where we have that self-talk, my gosh, where we seemingly are in a narrative of that person and us and this war and this politic and this idea, and it's endless. And there's no greater time than this new narrative that has come, because I sense that we are entering into this incredible age. Some say it is the Aquarian age. But I believe, and I've come here to, and I came to join this unitive new narrative download really into a synthesis that speaks of a global narrative, a cultural narrative, a political and economic narrative, a medical narrative, whatever narrative that we are just indulged in our lives and seemingly overwhelmed that one narrative is better than another narrative. But to come into a place where it's just all kind of rolled in together, where we can say yes. So I've been thrilled to come to it, because one of the things that we hit upon in our discussions was that it underpins the new world. And we believe that without this underpinning, that the bridge that we're all here to do, that we've all come to share in our collective heart and soul, that it underpins that bridge that brings all of us together. And I too invite all of you to join with us. Come to our calls, come to our meetings, share this in your own unique way. Our story is the new story. And I look forward to sharing it all with you, and stop being so terminally serious about everything, because it's a lot of fun too.
I love you, Adam. That's what I love about your spirit, is you bring so much play and fun. And as one recovering jerk to another, we have people in the chat saying, Adam, what was the catalyst? So before we go over to Julie or Theresa, I know people always want to know the origination story. Was there a moment that had you shift from the narcissistic, self-serving, patriarchal, my way or the highway, to who you are now?
Well, there was, and of course, things culminate over time, because the inauthenticity of the life that I was living, and what could be more narcissistic than a self-fulfilling idea that life was all about serving seemingly myself and, well, my family, of course, which really was more of an excuse than to serve the greater good of the whole. But it was a great irony, because it came at the pinnacle of my success in business. And I'd built 3 successful companies and had been having record number of transactions in clothing. And I lived by this law, the law of the everything but the unitive world. And that law is the law of the jungle. And when the sun comes up, whether you're the lion or the gazelle, you better run like hell. And I lived by that law, and I sure as heck wasn't going to be eaten. But the sun was coming up one morning as I was driving to my offices in Los Angeles from my home. And I was on the phone with a Wall Street banker, having a very difficult, troubling call. And I won't share the details and the language and the things that emerged from it. But ultimately, I was reaching for my Tums at 5 a.m. and a dog ran in front of my car, and I nearly killed the dog. And I pulled over, and I thought I was having a heart attack at 42. And I said, no more. I can't do this. And that began the journey to explore what's possible. How can I serve? So here I am. Thank you for asking, and thank you for listening.
Wow, Adam, thank you. I know so many people in the chat were saying, please tell us the story of how that happened. And often it is those wake-up call moments. A lot of the healers on our platform, Om-Heals, every time I talk to them, it's always that story of you're near death. Something happens, some sort of catalyst happens where you experience some sort of deep loss or health crisis. And it just shakes us awake to go, oh my gosh, why this? There is so much beauty, so much life to be breathed in through us and as us, as Michael Beckwith would say. And how do we then allow that to be breathed through us rather than trying to force our agendas? When we have our own agendas, there's no space for love. There's no space for self love or love of the other. And there's certainly no space for unity. So thank you for sharing that, Adam. So much love, my friend. And I'd love to turn it over now to Julie for a moment. So, Julie, again, such an incredible woman. The Dr. Julie Show, her company, The Good of the Whole, says it all. I think that basically tells you who Julie is as a human being. Julie, talk to us a little bit about how your involvement in this, why that matters to you, and how you want to make the impact, and why it matters to have this reach the people we intend it to reach.
Thank you, Jennifer, and thank you, Adam, and really thank you everyone in the chat. I am not a good multitasker, but I've been trying to watch the chat, and there's some really important pieces coming through there. So hopefully we can kind of tap into some of those threads and pull them through. I'm kind of like Adam in a way. So I'm just going to start there because you inspired me, Adam. We're all getting real and vulnerable here tonight. But I've been a closet mystic all my life. I had a near-death experience at 4 and a series of other mystical experiences walking in both worlds from a very young age. But because of the old narrative, because of the world we built in this illusion of separation, I, like Adam, went off on the trajectory of, well, I need to be credible. I need to get my education. I need to get licensed. I'm a licensed mental health practitioner. I have a PhD. And the academic part of me really set myself on this path of just dominating in my life while the mystic stayed closeted for so long. And I think, why now? Why is the unitive narrative so important? Because it's the truth. Dr. Ivy sung a phrase. She said, and the world is whole. The world is whole. We are a part of a cosmic, unified living system that's truth. And I've seen it and I've experienced it and I know it, and many of us do. So you don't have to have a near-death experience to experience that. There's myriad ways that we tap into this unified universe that we live in, that we exist in. And it's an important time on our planet to really bring both of those things together to integrate. So as we're bringing the new science in, and who I've been for decades as well, with that deep spiritual wisdom and those direct experiences of unity, I think this is an important piece, Jennifer, that we can bring in, is now is our time to really understand that direct experience of unity, along with the understanding and the scientific underpinnings for that. The thing that I just want to tap into for some of those questions in the chat that I think is important is that this isn't a part of the UN. This is an independent, autonomous committee that said this is important to us. And why is it important to us? This is the unifying principle that really underpins conscious evolution. That it's not prescriptive of how should healthcare work, how should economics work, how should governing systems work, how should the political or the justice system or the injustice system work. This is the underpinning of truth, of who we be. And it lifts us in all of our different disciplines to really tap into the roots of that and say, yes, we're telling a new narrative. We're building a worldview based in unity and wholeness, not the delusion of separation, like Einstein said, and many other have said in the meantime. So I think that's really important. Is Dr. Laura had said, is this health freedom? Is this gonna, it's like, yes, and inspiring each and every one of us in our own soul's purpose. I want to say one more thing really quick, and then I'll pass this along. But This is our soul's purpose. And when we're looking at the collective soul, it really moves us into evolutionary purpose. What's your evolutionary purpose? We're moving beyond my soul's purpose to our collective soul. So that means, what's my evolutionary purpose? So as a healthcare provider, maybe I'm in there taking this new unitive narrative and this organizing principle of how we truly are one interconnected reality. And how do I want to transform my work, my life, my community? And each one of us doing our own part. And that's the most important piece of this. As we all step into this, we're all going to make a huge difference on the planet.
So beautiful, Julie. Thank you. And to tie that in to what I was speaking about earlier with Jude and what you just alluded to, it's our unitive narrative. And what if, imagine just like we put on a pair of glasses. Speaking of Michael Beckwith, I remember many years ago, I was at one of his seminars at Agape, and they had Ishmael Tete, who is this wonderful chief who was there. And he said, every day we don't even realize it, but we put on glasses. And sometimes we put on it's hard colored glasses or it's unfair colored glasses. And that's the lens we see the world through. And I think our invitation, Julie, correct me if I'm wrong on this, is just to put on unitive colored glasses and try them on and see what the world looks like from that perspective, right?
Yeah, Jennifer, that's so funny because I'm doing a TED Talk, and in the video I just sent into the committee, I said, it's time to put on a corrected lens. And I did that. I went into the thing. It's time to put on a corrected lens. We built a world in the illusion of separation. It's what we knew. It's the stage we went through. It's an immature stage of consciousness that we're outgrowing, right? The awakening world. But it's based on old science, which taught us a lot. And now we know more. So there's a lot that we did, but now it's time. You're correct. It's like, okay, let's put on that unitive lens and correct that so that we will build a world that works for everyone.
Yeah, and as we try to do it, you see not that. As I've shared with you and with Julie and Adam and others on the calls, when I first engaged with this, and I would practice reading the unitive narrative, and there is another version, by the way, that's going to come out. The first one that we're posting in the chat is steeped in a lot of the scientific and the consciousness. And there's another variation that we wrote of it that is going to be available to the public soon. So I put in the chat where you can ask to be on our email list to be able to receive that when it's out. And I personally like to read the narrative every day and see, where am I not that? And one day, clear as day, Julie, I remember I was out walking my dog. And I don't know about you, anybody who has a dog walker, you see someone else's poop, right? Someone else's dog poop, and you are enraged and indignant. The nerve of that person that they did not pick up their dog's poop, and how could they? And so one day I was reading the unitive narrative. I go out to walk the dog, and I saw someone else's poop. And it dawned on me, I had poopy bags with me, wasn't going to take any extra effort, might save somebody else from stepping in the poop. And I'm not a fan of that sort of a thing. But you know what? I was like, just suck it up, Jen. And if you're really going to come from unitive consciousness, it's your poop too. And it was a shift. It was literally a total paradigm shift for me to go, not yours or mine, ours.
Nice. Way to go, Jennifer. You know, and that works in so many ways. And I like how real you just got, like our dog poop, right? But that's it. That's it. We're moving into how do we live for the good of the whole? And that means all things. Yeah. Everywhere.
Yeah, it's metaphorical poop. That's the thing. It's the metaphorical political poop. It's the metaphorical, economic poop that we're dealing with. It's all a metaphor.
So let's clean it up and compost it. Yeah.
I love that, Julie. Well, thank you so much, my friend. Let's turn it over to Theresa before we go into a musical break from Jamishka. So Theresa, would love to hear your thoughts, my friend. Again, you are the embodiment. You are the person who lives and breathes this. Can you share with us a little bit about why this matters to you and how you do bring this to everything you do, whether it's the Islands of Coherence Retreat or the Global Coherence Pulse? All of your endeavors are sprinkled and peppered with this consciousness.
Thank you. And thank you, Julie and Alan. That was so much fun. And I love the shared poop. And, there's a couple things that I want to say. And I want to start with, when I first saw the unitive narrative and saw that it was attached to the SCGs, like I had a kind of a visceral, I don't really align with what's happening with, a lot of systems, right? And instead, what I really got was that, and this is with technology and so many things, is that we have really well-meaning things happening all around the planet. Like the SCGs, there's a well-meaningness in there. But the issue was that we were coming from a place of separation and scarcity and all of those things as we were crafting the needs that would somehow overcome our current challenges. And so then what you guys are saying, it's like, if we put on the unitive lens and we look at those same things, then what changes around that? Like I think about the 5G that's blanketing our planet with energy, with a frequency that is harmful to human life, to animal life, to our agriculture. And what would happen if we actually, from the unitive perspective, just decided to tune the frequency of that technology that's blanketing us to a frequency that's actually beneficial for human life, animal life, for the planet itself? So there's something, it's not what we're looking at anymore. We need to shift our attention, from my perspective, away from what's happening on the planet and our sense of needing to fix it from this external relationship to it, to turning our attention into where we're looking from. Because if we're looking from the lens of me, connected and inseparable from life, which the unitive narrative is calling us to just consider, that I am one with all things, and what I feed the field matters. And what I'm being drawn to do is life innovating through me and calling me. Then where we're looking from begins to shape how we're moving and choosing in the world. And I think that's the invitation of the new narrative. It's like we can feel it. We can feel ourselves awakening to the truth of our inseparability to life. And we're awakening to a moment in time where we are far from equilibrium. We are a system that's in, whole systems collapse. And what happens in a moment like that is life begins to innovate. And when we can drop in, we realize we're life innovating. We're life being gathered. And if we allow ourselves to be guided from the inside out, with the lens of our interconnectedness to all things, the poop is the poop and it's all of ours, right? Then we're going to begin to respond to what's emerging, as instead of resisting what we don't like. And we're going to start to come from a new place of awareness that we can't define, we can't chase it, we can't make it happen, but we can relax and place our attention 100% into this place inside of ourselves that is connected, and begin to respond from there. And I think that's what the unitive narrative is offering. And we're going to have lots of stories. We're going to have lots of ways for us to take it in. But the truth is, can we live from the truth that we're all connected and do our best from there? I think that's what it's inviting.
Oh, so eloquently put, Theresa. People are really resonating with it. It's popping up all over the chat. And that's the real come from, I think, is to realize that every one of us, we are doing the best we can. Say you walk by dog poop, whatever that proverbial poop is, right? However many times in our lives, it's not about making yourself wrong or the other wrong. It's about knowing that up until this moment and going forward, you are doing the best you can in every moment. I am doing the best that I can in every moment. And we are doing the best we can. And how do we get to continue to explore and evolve, as Julie and Adam said around that? I think that's just such a beautiful way to explore and to look at this, is to be compassionate. I think that we're not going to get anywhere. We're going to be stuck in the quagmire of mud unless we show ourselves and one another compassion as we go through this process. And I want to invite people, this is meant to be your story, not our story. Sorry, not your story, our story. And so, one thing you could do if you want to get involved in this before we start really doing more with it, we invite you to share your stories. Use hashtag unitive narrative. You can post about it, videos. We look forward to hearing even from children. We're looking at collaborating on that as well, hearing their voice. Adam brought that idea forward of how important are the voices of the children, and what if we gave them an opportunity to create videos or share what it means to them? What does connection mean to you? And the more we bring our conscious awareness and attention to that unitive nature of us as human beings, to that connective nature, that's what will begin to show up. By the very definition of the observer principle, what we look for shows up and expands. So look for the unity in your community, look for the connection, share about it, post about it, write about it, create videos, create content. We're even creating a unitive narrative song. And as we do this, we'll continue to strengthen that web of interconnectivity that really does hold us all together. So Scott, I'm going to turn it over to you for our musical interlude with our guests, Jamishka, to go ahead and introduce them.
Right. And actually, before I do that, I want to, because all of these guests are involved in so many wonderful things. And I'm going to actually ask Julie Krull to tell us a little bit about a wonderful website and project that she's involved with, which is Good of the Whole. So I'm adding Julie. And Julie, tell us a little bit about what goodofthewhole.org is and how people can get involved and support it.
Oh, thank you, Scott. I appreciate that. Good of the Whole is an organization that's been around for 9, going on 10 years now, actually, and began with a few people who were working with Barbara Marx Hubbard and the evolution of consciousness, and literally wanting to have some form and structure to these very concepts that we're talking about tonight. Like, how do we put this into action? How do we create the world that's good for everyone so that everyone can be a part of that? And so we have a beautiful membership community and have been responsive in different ways. We've done different projects. We have several different community members that are working on their projects, and we're really moving toward a trans-organizational superstructure. That's always been the vision, is how do we work together? How do we resource one another in mutual nourishment and really respond to what the emergence respond instead of an emergency response. But we also, in 2020, the same time you probably began the Saturday Night Alive, Good of the Whole, started the connection field. And so the exciting part, I'll just take a breath and thank you for asking. The exciting part is that we began this connection field, which was a 24/7 program that was a response from COVID and being separated. And go to goodofthewhole.org and read more. But we are formally joining forces with the Islands of Coherence and Theresa and bringing our organizations together so that we can offer more, we can create more, we can respond more. And it's just all really exciting that just pooling our resources and really taking it to that next level and the new evolutionary trajectory too. So it's very exciting times for us, and we're just excited to co-create with the Islands of Coherence and bringing others in. Many people who we've mentioned tonight are a part of this as well, and on our advisory team, and being a part of looking at how do we create a world that works for everyone.
Beautiful. So how when people actually go to your website, where should they start? Like, what's the best way for people to get involved?
Well, there's a place for memberships, and if you cannot afford to give don't worry about it. Send us an email, get on our email list. And then everything is in this emergent new space. So we'll make sure that we stay in contact with you, let you know what's going on. And as we're revamping, watch for Connection Field 2.0 that goes outside the boundaries of Good of the Whole into many, many, many different organizations that will be a part of that. And stay involved. The community will be redirected over to the Islands of Coherence Network so we can connect on that platform, which is Mighty Networks with Theresa. And we have some regular calls and things that we do. So we're still there. We're just kind of getting really excited and gearing up toward World Unity Week as well, and being able to really offer more and offer more with less, which is exciting.
Beautiful. And the Awakening World will be celebrating World Unity Week. We're going to actually kick it off and then do the follow-up at the very end. So we'll be kind of bookending it. Since you introduced Theresa, I want to one more time just go to really, there's 24 hours left for people to register for your retreat. And she talked about it during our early Zoom room show, but for the people that are now watching on Facebook, and a reminder for our Zoom roomers, Theresa, tell us just a little bit more about this retreat that people can still join.
Yeah, just until Monday. And, it is just an intention that for the next 3 months, this spring of 2022, that if you're interested in cultivating greater coherence in the heart of your daily life and through you into the world, which I personally think is one of the most essential things that we could be doing on the planet right now, that there's a community of people coming together and choosing to explore 3 main themes: presence, the quality of our presence; resonance, our connection to life, to our interconnectiveness with the aliveness that is going through a shift on the planet; and our emergence, our part to play in it. And it's really a safe harbor for us as a community to come together and go for it. Like, are you ready to live the life that you came here to live? I think we're all like, it's time. There's no other time. It's right now. And so if you want to do that in a container of community, then this is the moment. You can sign up. There's scholarships. Half the people right now in the retreat came in on a scholarship. So you're not turned away. If you honestly want to make a commitment to your own sustained coherence, then this is a really lovely place to do it. And you can put in as much time or as little time as you want, but I think this is it. I think it's now. Let's go for it.
Theresa, thank you so much for putting it together, and your generosity of scholarshiping half the people. So for those, and I know a lot of our people watching either on Facebook or in the Zoom room are all about community and are wanting to interact more with people like you and Julie and Jennifer. So go to Islands of Coherence and retreat. I'll go there one more time just to show you where it is. It's islandsofcoherence.net/retreat 2022. And if you can, put in --Global Peace Tribe. I'll pop this in the chat box for our Zoom room, and I'll also put it in the chat box for our friends watching on Unify. All right. Well, as all of you who are regulars know, Saturday nights, we always like to have lots of wonderful live music. And Jamishka is back. They were on the show about 2 months ago, I think, and people loved them. So I am so grateful. I said, when can you come back? Because I know you're getting more and more gigs now that things are opening up again. And they said, we can do May 21st. I said, you're in. So thank you so much, Jamishka, for being back with us.
Thanks for having us again. It's great to be here again.
Our pleasure.
Been really enjoying the dialogue tonight. Just been resonating a lot with what Julie and Theresa and the speakers here have been sharing. So thank you.
Thank you. And just so you know who Jamishka is, for those of you that are new, they do some really unique, as you're about to hear, they combine harmonies, vocal play, creative instrumentation. And you were looking at James and Ishka, And so together they are Jamishka. And they are available for booking. And they also have amazing artwork. I'm going to take a look at their artwork in the show as well. So what do you have for us? You're doing 2 numbers tonight, one now, one a little bit later. What you got for us for starters?
Well, for our first piece, in the light of tonight's theme, empowering our soul's purpose, we're going to have some fun with a song that actually came all at once one night. Had already gone to bed, and luckily I had my dream journal next to me. I was in that liminal space in between waking and going to sleep, and the song just came through, and I couldn't see a thing, and I just scribbled it all out, hoping I'd be able to read it in the morning, and thankfully I did, and this is what came out. If there's one thing that I've got, it's that I've got pizzazz. I've got charisma, I've got charm. You don't believe me, I'll take you by the arm, and I'll lead you down the avenue of what it's like to be unafraid, unabashed, entirely guilt-free. Love myself unconditionally, has a lifetime warranty. Included in the package is my satisfaction guarantee. I've even got my own service center included in the deal. And if I ever think that I might be fake, I trade it in for something real. There's no extra costs, no hidden terms, no loan to be repaid. I always get what I need most. It's just the way that I was made. And if there's one thing that I'm lacking, it's the desire for something more. I'm playing this game for victory without ever keeping score. Bump-a-dump-a-dump-a-dump, radical self-love fits like a pink glove. A song in your heart says we're jumping fences, we're keeping our chins up, 'cause we know what's up there. What is up there? Radical self-love fits like a pink glove. A song in your heart says we're jumping fences, we're keeping our chins up, 'cause we know what's up there. The sun is shining, the moon is smiling, the clouds are gliding along. The sun is shining, the moon is smiling, the clouds are gliding along. The sun is shining, the moon is smiling, the clouds are gliding along. The sun is shining, the moon is smiling, the clouds are gliding along. Bum-ba-dum-ba-dum-ba-dum-ba-dum, bum, bum.
That was really, really fun. Really, really fun. And I'm going to just, the wild monk of the Mystic Monastery, Jerry, is always with us and he loves our music.
Yes,
So
it
I
was-
want to acknowledge Jerry, who's definitely part of our family.
You remember Jerry?
Oh, fantastic. Great job, you guys. And we will, again, you can learn everything you need to know about Jamishka by going to their website. And honestly, right in this moment, my internet is funky and isn't allowing me to open up certain websites. So I'm going to ask, next time you guys come on, I'm going to ask my co-host Jennifer to pull it up and we'll take a look at it then. And also want to look at your beautiful artwork. That was really, really fun. Thank you for giving us a little bouncy in between this beautiful conversation. And we'll look forward to seeing you guys in a little while.
All right, thank you.
Always a pleasure.
All right. Jennifer, I'm turning it back over to you.
Thank you, Scott, and thank you, Jamishka. That was just so enlivening. It's 3 a.m. my time in Portugal, so that definitely uplifted and enlivened my spirit right now, as I'm sure it did for all of us. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And Adam, I'd love to go back to you for a moment, my friend, and have you share what really your invitation is to people who want to engage with the unitive narrative. What ways do you envision? You're always the innovator, the visionary. Share with us maybe some ways that you would love to invite people's participation into how it might look for them to be involved in the unitive narrative.
I'd be happy to, and I'm always inspired by Buckminster Fuller and that great old quote of his: "You can't change things by fighting the existing reality. You change something by building a new model that makes the old model obsolete." And the beauty about this new narrative is it's the new model of storytelling. And it's an invitation for all of us to share not only what I believe is our own unique personal stories, but our own connection in our hearts and our souls with others or the planet, whatever brings you most alive in your passion. But that story can be told anywhere, at any time, in any profession, wherever you are. So the invitation that we're putting out at this early stage is, it's a great time to come in and to sign up for the email list as we've offered tonight. There's going to be opportunities to explore what we're doing in Circle around the unitive new narrative. Perhaps you're a storyteller. Perhaps you teach children. Perhaps you're a musician. Whatever that may be, there's a great opportunity to help all of us to bring that unitive narrative alive once and for all, and to help make our old story obsolete. So explore it with us. It's early on. It's a great time to be involved. It's a great time to reach out to Jen or Julie or Theresa or Jude or myself. We're all available. Ideas, thoughts, love are all welcome here as you are. So look forward to connecting and hearing more from each of you. Thank you, Jen, for asking that.
Yeah, Adam, and I invite you to share a little bit about your idea with the children. I was so inspired. I remember one of the initial calls we had about that, and you sharing the importance of the children's voices. Can you talk a moment about that in case people have children? It might be fun, if people want to have their children do a drawing or maybe just write a little letter or do a song or a video about it. I think that's one of the most beautiful things we can do, is embrace the voices of future generations, and then use again the hashtag unitive narrative, so that way everyone around the world can begin to connect to all of these voices and how they are all connected.
Well, I think if there's anything that brings us all together, it's our children. As a father of 3 daughters and now 6 granddaughters, for real. I was putting a couple of them to bed, and I found a beautiful evening storytelling book that was about a little meditation. It was about breathing. It was about coming together in our dreams, feeling that we're safe and that our lives are magical. And I'll never forget the looks on their faces and the questions and the curiosity that it sparked in them, and how wonderful for our children as the newest storytellers, the storytellers of this new earth, this new dream, to invite them to join us, to share in their own way, the way that really celebrates the magic of the child and the joy, I think, what in many ways has perhaps been forgotten during our time. So that inspired this movement into children. And I know we're moving forward with some children's book and some other things around this, maybe having some children speak or youth speak into the narrative in their way. There's so much that we can do that can bring us alive through the magic of our children.
Thank you, Adam. I adore you, my friend. You are such a special soul. And I'm so grateful that you are here with us today. And if we want, Adam, do you want me to go ahead? Should I share screen and show Adam's website, Scott? Because I know we didn't get a chance to do that earlier because of the technical opportunity for growth. I like to call them
Yeah,
opportunities for
actually,
growth.
Adam's
So I'm going to,
Adam's Adam's did open up for me, so that
oh,
this
great.
one I was able to open. Adam, tell us where, first of all, his website for everybody is adamhall.solutions. Adamhall.solutions. And Adam, what would you like for our viewers to know about your website or your offerings?
Well, real simple. One of the things that I think that has been missed, that's seemingly so obvious in the culture and the world that we've been living within, is this idea of lack of abundance and this sense of scarcity that we feel within our own lives. So last year, I dedicated a lot of my focus and energy and sharing in storytelling around abundance, and hence that little book of Genius on Abundance. Now, this isn't a pitch to buy the book, because I offer a little free ebook on my website, which is really a neat little piece that is really changing people's lives to move us into the fullness of our interconnectivity, the unitive narrative around the true wealth, the abundance that we share with each other and Mother Nature. So that's my invitation this evening to explore that, and also you can reach out to me there as well.
Beautiful.
Anyway,
and I see that our friend Bruce Lipton wrote a quote, and I'm going to read the testimonial. This is from Bruce, who's been on the show recently. He writes, Adam's book, Divine Genius, is a consciousness template to apply quantum physics in real life. He helps the reader rise above disempowering programs to manifest our intentions and thrive into the future. I highly recommend it as a guide to free ourselves by freeing our mind. So there's the Divine Genius book, and there's the little book of Genius Abundance, and we can click here to purchase either one of them. And these look like beautiful, beautiful books. And Adam, I'm just getting to know you tonight, and I so appreciate the generosity of your spirit, your vulnerability, your honesty, and Jennifer sang your praises, and rightly so. It's nice to meet you, brother.
Pleasure to meet you and be here with everybody.
So much love, my friend. Looking forward to seeing Adam in a couple of weeks, so we'll get to spend some time in person. And Julie, I want to turn it over to you, my friend. Any closing thoughts or wisdom, or how you'd love to invite people to engage with it in their own way?
Thank you, Jennifer, and thank you, Adam. Just as I'm sitting here, the simplicity of remembering that our stories create our culture. And here we are in this great awakening, and with the awakening tribe wanting this, or not wanting, knowing this shift is happening, knowing this shift is occurring, but also looking around at what's ours to do. And so just remember that these stories that we tell create culture. And we're on the precipice of great change, the great turning, and it's time to tell a unitive story. So I love the invitation for the children's books, not just one children's book. Like, let's do it, like bring out all the children's authors and do that. Let's inspire the artists. All artists. We've had musicians on this show who are telling the story of unity through music. Let's do it through our visual arts. Someone in the chat said they love the art behind me. There's so many different ways that we can begin to bring life, to really breathe life into the truth of who we be on this planet as unitive beings, a part of one planetary being. And so Yeah, the narratives, the stories create the culture, and that's what we're all asking for right now. So let's all begin telling our stories and really sharing that out big and wide.
Paul.
Thank you,
Beautiful. I love
Julie, again.
Sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead, Jennifer.
No, I turn it over to you, my friend. This is your show. We are here to support, and I would never want to interrupt someone. So please, I hand it back to you.
Oh, well, we both jumped in. Julie, you're absolutely right. It is so important for everyone who's listening. There's those of us that happen to be on the show, but every single person watching, listening is part of this awakening world. We are all imaginal cells in the new butterfly, the new paradigm, and each of us have a role to play. And for some, it's being a wonderful mother or father. For some people, it's a time to rest and reacquaint, okay, what is my true purpose? A lot of people now are pulling out of their old jobs. So they might be in that time of confusion, the time of not knowing what their role is to play. And that's okay. It's hard. I want to acknowledge the people that are in that place, because that's a hard place to be in. It's easier when we have our mission, when we've gotten our assignment, and we're clear on it. So anybody listening, everybody has a beautiful role to play. And I love how you're calling that forth. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I also want people to know that all things Julie Krull take place on her website, which is easily her name, Julie Krull. That's KRULL.com, juliekrull.com. And Julie, you've got a lot going on here. What would you like for us to direct people towards? What part of your wonderful life and all the wonderful things you're doing in the world?
Well, thank you. I enjoy sharing this story. I enjoy just helping people embody this in a lot of different expressions in the world and through speaking, teaching, writing, books. But there is the Dr. Julie Show right there that most people find me through the Dr. Julie Show. All the archives are right there. And we're going on 9 years, which is really exciting. The Dr. Julie Show, All Things Connected. I tell the story that back 9 years ago, we were bringing on so many people to try to prove that all things were connected. And now it's like we get on and we don't have to prove it anymore. Almost every guest, I begin with that. What does all things connected mean to you? And now it's like, because it's what's real, it's what it is. And so it's just really fun to have watched it evolve over the 9 years. And we're gearing up towards some really big changes coming on this summer. I'm looking forward to a brand new format, brand new platform, and some surprising guests. We're really going to do some normalizing the non-ordinary states of consciousness this summer. Going to do a whole series with that, and that will be really exciting. So there's just a lot of fun new things there.
I want to acknowledge 9 years. That's a long time. And looking just at your banner there, all these faces of my favorite people, from Andrew Harvey to James Von Traag, Barbara Marks Hubbard, Marianne. So you really have just had a chance to talk with so many incredible beings and integrate that wisdom into who you are. So thank you, Julie.
Yeah, thank you. And you know what? I'm just going to give a plug back for Adam. Adam's book that you just saw on his website. We did a 3-part series with Adam on the show when that came out. And so if you want to learn more about Adam and that book, that series is on the website too, the Dr. Julie Show.
Well, since I trust your opinion so much, I'm going to, in front of everybody, invite Adam, if you're available, the weekend of June 10th to the 12th, The Awakening World. Our theme is authors that we love. And we'd have Matt Kahn and Andrew Harvey and Carolyn Meese and Catherine Woodward Thomas. And Adam, I would love for you to join us and talk more about one or both of the books that we just saw. So if you happen to be available either that Friday night or the Saturday night or Sunday morning, we'd love to have you on the show and learn more about one or more of your books.
Well, thank you, Scott. And thank you, Julie. I had so much fun being on your show and doing that 3-part series.
That's fun.
It was just great. And if you haven't tuned into Julie's podcast, I encourage you to do it. It's super real, super live and connected. And it was just an honor to be with you and all your audience. And absolutely, Scott, I'll be happy to join you. I am on a bit of a epic quest in Peru during that time, but it just so happens that on those dates I will be connected at some point in time or another. So depending upon what time, then let's see if we can make it happen, because
we'll figure it out.
It's great to be here with all of you and celebrating together.
Right. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Julie.
Thank you.
Right, back to you, dear Jennifer.
Yes. Last but not least, Theresa, my dear friend, I know it's been a busy day for you with everything going on with the Pulse, and would just love to hear, by the way, we do have a question, a Q&A from Jeff in the chat. For those of you who are familiar with HeartMath's work, I think they're asking, how's the heart rate monitor working on the tree? So there is that question. And then any ways that you'd love to involve people to play in the sandbox of unitive narrative and consciousness with you.
Yeah. Well, with the trees, this tree behind me right here on this side, they just attached one of their brand new tree monitors about 2 weeks ago. And I'll put a link in the chat to their brand new video they just made about the tree monitor project, which was filmed right here. I'm really excited to be able to have now look up on my computer and see how Grace is doing this tree that's here, this beautiful redwood, and how my relationship with it and what's happening when we do a pulse. Does it change the frequency of the tree's response? Like I love that, because I do feel like the unitive new narrative is waking up inside all of us. That's actually what's occurring. And as I said, it's not what we're looking at, it's where we're looking from. And if we can think every day, like, am I viewing my life? Am I viewing my choices? Am I viewing my response from a place of unity, from connection, from the peace that I experience in our diversity? Or am I looking and responding from a place of separation? And the moment that we notice that, whichever one that is, we have a moment of choice. And in that moment, we can actually choose to go from a place of a unitive narrative so that we can begin to create a new world, a new response by holding that truth as our inspiration. And that requires that we turn our attention inward to the love that we are. And I'm just going to read one little quote from my friend Edgar. And this is what's happening for me, and I think it's happening for all of us. There is a call coming from no leader, no culture, no language, no time. A call that is coming from within your deepest self, the unlimited intelligence that you know you already are. It's taking over you, and you can feel it. So now is the time to choose to give it 100% of your time, attention, and care. Yeah, that's it from me.
Thank you, Theresa. And you just saw a beautiful quote, by the way, from Edgar. Thank you for that. That really is in resonance with everything we've been talking about tonight. And I want to leave everyone with this part of the unitive narrative discussion with an experience that I had when I began engaging with the narrative. When I began allowing it to kind of come forth through me, one day I was, a few months ago, I was in Paris heading out to Giverny where Monet paints. And that particular day I was listening to this meditation. If anybody wants it, I can put it in the chat. It's on Apple Music, and it was chakra balancing. And so as I'm doing this, I'm sitting there, and then they get to the point of the third eye in the chakra meditation, and boom, in a moment of vision, it hit me. And I was completely sober, minus a few pawn chocolates in the morning and some bread and butter. And what happened was I saw the original light that we all came from, the light that began all of existence, as Jude calls it, the first breath of our being. And I saw that original light. And interestingly, though, rather than all of these billions of sparks of light traveling outwards, I saw all of the billions of sparks of light traveling back to their original source, back to the original oneness to that light. So this happened, and a few hours later, I found myself back in Paris walking near the Louvre. As I was walking through, in a moment, I saw these thousands of people, boys, girls, men, women, everyone, walking around the Louvre in Paris. And in a moment, they all transformed into these sparks of light that I had seen in my vision earlier. And I simultaneously felt the excruciating loneliness that every human being felt at being separated from one another from the beginning of time, and simultaneously the sublime joy at knowing that we're all one and going back to that state. So I share that because I invite you, as you go into the world in this week, month, year, decades, look for the spark of light instead of looking for how we're all different and how we have different political views, different backgrounds. Connect to that spark of light in every human being that is that oneness that brought this whole universe forward and together. And so that's my invitation to everyone as we go out into the week and close out this portion of the unitive narrative. So thank you so much. And Scott, should I turn it over to you, my friend, for our musical interlude with Dr. Mama Ivy before we head over to Shakti Durga?
I think we can go straight to Dr. Ivy. And what a beautiful roundtable conversation. What a beautiful fireside chat. And thank you, everybody, for being with us. And here is Dr. Mama Ivy.
Oh, thank you so much, Scott. And Jennifer, you are always inspiring us and inspiring me. And with that last statement that you said, it made me think of this vision that I had, and that's why I'm going to sing this song. I had some people texting me wanting me to sing this song, Let There Be Light, and I said, oh, I have another song. But then when you said the light, and I've had this vision of billions and billions of crystals hanging from the universe and pouring their light energy onto the earth. And it was almost just like that vision that you had. And I call it the cosmic love vibration, like the cosmic love coming down, beaming down on us. And so I want to share this song. I just have it redeveloped and redesigned. And it's really about, it's a prayer, actually, where we begin to bring ourselves into a space where we can feel that light, that we can find ourselves in that portal.
Ivy, can we I want to turn your mic up a little bit more so we can hear it over the music, or turn the music down, because I want to hear your beautiful voice.
I don't know what's happening with my mic today. I'm so sorry. Is that better?
It's all good, my friend. That's a little better. Yeah, your voice
All
is so
right.
beautiful. We want to be able to
All
appreciate
right.
it.
I want to make sure that you hear this. All right. Now, here we are. Indoniras nefikwan, eshundilira masuma ni asaya. Kambolo, dire bolo, mita bolo. Oshundu masi, amisi kamasa. Cosmic love vibration. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the earth. And the Spirit of God moved Now close your eyes and breathe deeply. And see the world a whole. See your life free of toil, because God said, let there be light. And God said, let there be light. And San Kufasu. Hear the voice of the Spirit within. Still your mind and feel your soul. See your life fulfilling your purpose. May God bless you. May God bless you. May God bless you and you and you and you and you and you. God bless you. May God bless you. May God bless you. And you, and you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ivy. We do feel blessed by you. And my partner tonight, Jennifer's going to bring up your website.
Here we are. Can everybody see it okay, Scott?
Yes, we sure can. And
Wonderful.
Dr. Ivy, share with us a little bit about how people can experience your sound spa. Oh, you're muted.
Oh, I think you're still muted, my friend. I don't know why it's...
Okay.
There we go. Perfect.
All right. I hope this is better. Right now, you can have a private sound spa. Really, the sound spa is about the healing crystal bowls, the crystal bowls that create sound vibrations that cleanse at the cellular level. And it's called the frequency of love. You can actually go to my website and you can click more, and it'll tell you how you can purchase the Sound Vibronics music so that you can stream it. It's on the Bandcamp website. It's Dr. Ivy Shadia Bandcamp.com. And that's how you can do it. And then also you can go to YouTube. YouTube has a lot of the sound spas that we did during the pandemic. I think there are like 51 different sound spas on YouTube, and you can find that on Dr. Ivy Sound Spa on YouTube as well. But you can download the crystal bowls right on Dr. Ivy Shadia.bandcamp.com, and you can mind stream right there in your own private sound spa.
And I want to do a quick shout out for Dr. Ivy. I was privileged to get to do a session with her. She's a practitioner on om-hills.com. And she's a good friend as well. And so when I did a session with her a few months back, it just dropped me straight out of time and space. So if you have time, it is one of the most beautiful and relaxing experiences that you will have, getting to do a session with her that is utterly transformative. And so huge hugs and love to Dr. Ivy, who's amazing.
And you can also get it right there on Om Heals. Om Heals, and you can schedule an appointment.
Well, since you brought up Om Heals, let's just remind everybody about this amazing organization that our beloved Jennifer has put together, Om Heals. And she's got 85 remarkable healers, just like Dr. Ivy. It's om-heals.com. And I've gotten to know several of these practitioners. We just had Erin on the show last weekend. And there's Ashley, who we're going to meet in a few minutes. You have a lot of Ashleys, but we're going to meet the quantum energy healer, Ashley, in just a few minutes. And if you keep going down, you'll find Dr. Ivy. There she is. And all these amazing beings. So this is a wonderful, wonderful service that you found. And what's really cool is you can take a brief, fun little survey, asks you several questions, and it gives you a chance to see who you are. And then there are certain matches. Jennifer will actually help match you with the right healer or healers based on your answers to the survey. And that's really unique. So it's a very personalized service that you provide, Jennifer. And thank you so much for doing that. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Scott. It's such a pleasure. And actually, Shakti Durga, who is our next speaker, is a practitioner on om-heals.com and is also a renowned energy healer herself, who has referred us many of our incredible energy healers on the platform. Shakti Durga is somebody I was so blessed to get to know last year, who I immediately just connected with and felt a heartfelt draw to the work that she does. I believe it's shaktidurga.com, as well as the wellbeinginitiative.org, the WBI.org. She does such beautiful work. She does for-profit energy healing work and offers classes and trainings for healers around the world. She has trained over 5,000 professional healers from around the world and approximately 10,000 people across. Some people just want to learn energy healing and might not want to do it professionally. And I have learned so much from her. She just did actually an energy activation for our healers this last week and helped awaken our Kundalini energy. And Shakti Durga was actually an Australian barrister before she had kind of her awakening and realized that her purpose and her soul's mission was to bring energy medicine to the world. So, Shakti Durga, my dear friend, it is such a pleasure to have you here with us again. You had joined us a few months ago for the February Global Coherence Pulse, as well as for the Awakening World as well.
Thank you. It's lovely to be here. Very inspiring program.
Thank you, Shakti. I would love for you to share a little bit about your perspective. You are one of the foremost experts, not only in Australia, but in the world when it comes to energy medicine. And I love how you tie in the science of it. For today, though, perhaps you could speak to listening to our soul, empowering our purpose. Can you share with us a little bit about that in your perspective?
Certainly, yes. I think that if we lived in a world where we were surrounded by people like our speakers and musicians all the time, then we wouldn't really have a requirement for energy healing. But we don't, and we live in a world that is very admixed. There's everything going on, and many of us haven't grown up with the kind of culture that is now being spoken of and that new story, which I so believe in. But we do have quite a bit of ourselves kind of invested in the way things used to be. And sometimes, particularly when we're around situations, circumstances, events, times, places, people that are really challenging, then I think it's a common human experience that even when we're really wanting to connect to that new story, we can't really hold it together in a coherent way. We just can't. We want to choose that, but we keep being the other thing in that moment. You know, the pain gets us, or the thoughts we can't stop thinking. And I don't know if anyone else has the experience sometimes, but when you get concerned, particularly if it's with someone close to you, someone that you care a lot about, and something's happening, that a sort of a thought loop will go on in your head. And it's a scary place to be sometimes, in the head. And so how do we get out of these things? How do we get back to that soul's resonance and magnificence? For me, I've found in my life that energy healing has played such an important role in that journey of bridging the two worlds, that world where we experience sometimes separateness and sometimes we experience the coherent state. And I find that with keeping our energy field in an optimal condition and letting go of what it is that no longer serves us, our natural innate ability to really feel who we be and what our puzzle piece is in the evolving evolution of humanity. It's just quite amazing how that clarity comes when we give ourselves that time and we help ourselves with energy healing. But there's other ways too, like meditation, for instance, and listening to sacred music or playing sacred music. These are amazing ways to connect with your soul. It's just, you know, in my experience, I've found that energy healing just makes it so much easier. When it comes to connecting to your soul, I feel that we are already connected to our souls, and these other parts of who we are just sort of sit on top of it and get in the way a little bit. The mind being one of the biggest obstacles that exists, don't you think, sometimes? And yeah, so for me, it's about how do you create that sacred space to get beyond the mind, to have a little bit of respite, and to be in that space where the inspiration comes, to know how to be with the situation or circumstance you're finding yourself in. And so I guess what I help people do is develop a lot of strength to be able to, I suppose it's a getting into the habit, really, that when things are going a bit pear-shaped and we're not surrounded by positive people, we're not feeling good about what's going on, we are faced with awful things that are going on right now, that we have a way of defaulting to, right, I'm going to connect. Because I don't know about anybody else, but sometimes that's the last time you feel like connecting. Last time you feel like doing spiritual practice is when things are going, we get angry or we're feeling depressed. We don't have the energy for it. So providing services, having healings can just springboard us sometimes into a place where we're back feeling empowered again. So, yeah.
Beautiful, Shakti Durga. And you talk about energy healings. I'm a huge proponent. Of course, I love it myself. I get at least 3 a week, I would say. And how are some ways that people can connect to their own energetic healing, that wholeness within us? So that way we can, as Lion Goodman, another practitioner, was on last night sharing, clear the detritus that's in our space, because we are divinely connected to one another, to our souls, to the divine. And what happens is sometimes there's just a little bit of mud and we can't see ourselves or the world clearly. And that's how we fall into separation consciousness. Can you talk about any suggestions you might have to maybe work on that?
I think it's very important that we understand the windows through which we're looking at the world. It's not just through our physical senses. There's a whole lot going on, as we now know with the new neuroscience, that our neurology is actually connecting to the world. But I guess my expertise really is around the subtle body and the subtle channels and how we're connecting to each other through all of these subtle meridians, through our energy fields, through our chakras. And I've also found that over time and through patterns and habits of how our consciousness has been activated already within us, our energy field can grow in a way that some of our energy centers are large and strong and others, they struggle. And if we don't have the full set of energy centers that are kind of clear, clean, developed and strong, then what we can find is that just a little bit of, I guess, the distortion comes in, and then we don't know what our truth really is. We feel confused. We can feel a little bit lost. And so as we start to learn, and the tools of energy healing, many of the different modalities can help us with this. As we unblock and release, then what happens is the natural flow of energy comes. And some of that energy is coming straight from the essence of who we are, from the soul itself. And so then we're going to start to just have this still, quiet voice within that starts to direct us and give us the strength we need to get through those difficult times, and also to help us to have the intuition around where should I be, who should I be with, where should I go? And that becomes stronger and even becomes automatic, so that we're barely even beginning to think about it before the is with which we're connected has put us in the right place at the right time with the right person for the right thing to happen. So I love the work that I do with people to help them to just realign with the deepest part of self again. And I love that everybody else is doing it their way, and that there's so many ways now for us to do that. I also believe that mantra is another very powerful tool for helping to connect us to our innermost realities. And mantras are something that, as a practitioner of energy medicine and vibration, it's come more into my awareness over the last 10 or 15 years or so, of just how powerful mantra is and how much strength it taps us into inside our own soul. It really connects us in a way that here in the physical world, we have the experience of being very connected with our inner landscape. So the combination for me can be very, very powerful.
I wholeheartedly agree with you, Shakti Durga. I remember many years ago, probably 20 years ago, a dear friend of mine, Natalia, was my massage therapist. And she said, Jen, before I do your massage, I need you to meditate for 30 seconds and it'll make your massage amazing. And here I am, like 21, 22 years old. I was like, have you lost your mind? Do you know what it's like to be inside my head? I can't quiet this for 2 seconds, let alone 30 seconds. And then fast forward about 10 plus years later, I had a friend introduce me to transcendental meditation, which is one of many forms of mantra-based meditation. And I've done it now every day for 10 years straight. And it is so, you are so right, Shakti Durga. There are wonderful ways. I remember Deepak suggested one called Aham. If you do TM, you'll be given your own special mantra, and they even have special prices if you can't afford it that are more kind of donation based to support you. And when you do that, you just drop straight in and you get clarity, and it's like you're divinely plugged into the light of all creation. So what are some of your favorite mantras, Shakti Durga, that we could give to people to play with?
Well, every day I use Om Dom Durgaye Namaha. Om Dom Durgaye Namaha. Very simple mantra. And the reason I like it is because the principle of Durga is the principle of the strength of the soul, actually. It's the strength of what's inside all of us that makes us all one. And so the story in mythology, because I think mythology is great for knowing about spiritual things, but the story of Durga was that there was this demon and he got a boon that he got a boon that he could only be killed by a female. And of course, back in those days, there weren't any female warriors. And so he then became all powerful and took over the world, and darkness ruled, just kind of like now, really. There was darkness in lots of places, and so the gods all got together and said, what are we going to do? This demon's got this boon that he could only be killed by a woman. And they said, well, we're going to have to pray and create a female, a goddess, who can then dispatch that demon. So they all the gods of all faiths, of all religions, of all people, of every soul that ever lived, they all put some of their energy into a sacred fire. And this amazing goddess came out called Durga. And so there's a sense for me in which the sacredness of the name is that through the name, it's a connection to everyone. So it's part of, for me, it's an ancient story, but it's a new story too, because I really believe we are all connected. And that when we use the mantra Om Dom Durgaye Namaha, it doesn't matter what religion you are, it doesn't matter if you're an atheist, it doesn't matter. It's a vibration that's found in nature that can help us know we're connected to each other. And to me, that's really exciting. And needless to say, Durga did dispatch the demon and peace came to reign once again. I find with mantras that what happens is that the more we use them, they get more powerful. And so whilst I spend a lot of my day with either doing corporate work with people, helping them to find more peace and well-being, or my own private healing practice, or other classes and retreats that I might run, but for my own well-being, for my own connection, so that I can be present with people, I do use mantra and I do have regular energy healing. And also, it's really interesting what you mentioned, Jennifer, about the times when your mind just won't stop. It just drives you insane and you want to be part of the peace and part of the inspired whatever, but that's where energy healing can be particularly effective, is to dissolve those loops in the mind, because those loops are made out of energy. And so that's an energy that's fueling the loop you don't want to have in your mind anymore. And so that to me is one of the biggest gifts, that you can literally get help with dissolving that.
I totally agree. And I see Theresa typing. I think she's shaking her head and saying, yes, yes, love you, Shakti Durga. I think she's done a session with you. I've done a session with you, and so many other people. Theresa, did you have something you wanted to say? I got the vibe that you wanted to share something.
No, I mean, I was just typing in the chat about, bringing our awareness to the bottom of our feet is such a quick way to bring us out of that mind that's referencing what's happening out there as what's going on, and turning us into our connection with the earth, and to this moment, and to this glorious opportunity we can choose to self-heal and transform this world. So I just love you, Shakti Durga. And I'm so inspired when you talk, because you're embodying it, right? You can tell the timbre of the speaking is speaking from a place of peace and inviting you to join her or not, but it's always going to be there. And I love that about you.
Thank you. Thank you. And, it's been my privilege to have my hands in the aura of some very luminous people that are associated with this program. And you can really tell that people are authentic and doing the inner work when, I mean, I was a barrister. I was so left-brained. I had no idea about energy fields. I thought all that stuff was a little bit frou-frou, certainly nothing to do with me. And then I had an experience of bronchitis that was 6 months of bronchitis. I was newly divorced, had a 2-year-old and a really busy law career. And I was debilitated with this bronchitis and tried all the medicines and time off, and nothing worked. And one of my colleagues said, "Why don't you try energy healing?" I think I laughed because I thought it was such a ridiculous idea. Mind you, it was the early 90s. So, anyway, I went along because I was desperate and thought, oh, well, whatever. And then, of course, my bronchitis completely went away. And that's what made me so absolutely fascinated about how the consciousness of the difficult couple of years that I'd been through with getting divorced and so forth had literally lodged in my body, and I didn't know it was there, but my body knew it was there. And so when the energy healer had her hands in my aura, she knew it was there and she helped me clear it. And this was so remarkable for me because it was not my paradigm. But it was real and I couldn't pretend it hadn't happened. And so since that time, I've been absolutely, I suppose, enamored of the interplay between the body, consciousness, and our energy field. And I think that in the new story, people would naturally want to look after their energy. They would naturally want to optimize what was there and reach further into more of the essential self, which is, to me, in the way I do energy healing, that's what it's about. It's about, okay, let's take this, which has been difficult, and transform it into something that's an avenue for you to find more of yourself. And so for me, I think there's a way where we can merge the old story and the new story. And there's a way that we can dig for gold in the things that have happened to us and find such treasure. And that treasure is unique inside our heart and soul, and we can give it to the world. And the world needs it. And so I would encourage everybody who's listening to this, give yourself the opportunity to try as many of these things. Don't just listen about it, but try these things and see for yourself how your consciousness can evolve, shift, lift, change, and that your contribution is needed. We need you. So, yeah.
Thank you, Shakti Durga. So beautiful. And again, we're so grateful for all the beautiful work you do. The chat is just filled with love for you and for your stories and the work that you do in the world. So thank you, thank you, thank you from all of us. And I'm so grateful to know you. If you want to see if you match with Shakti Durga, you can go to om-heals.com. And Shakti also has many other wonderful healers on the platform, Maitreya and Sada and Daya and Badra and several others, Salvatore, who she's trained. So she has trained so many incredible healers around the world and also offers healings herself. And Scott, do you want me to go? Oh, perfect. Are you going to, let's go to Shakti's website because we already mentioned mine. I'd rather go to hers.
You got it. I was actually all geared up for there, and then you threw me out for a little loop there. So we're going to take a look at 3 websites. Again, a reminder, this beautiful organization that she's supported, the Wellbeing Initiative, which is a way that people who are not, that are financially challenged, can get the support that they need. And it's the website itself is the WBI, WBI standing for the Wellbeing Initiative. And you can apply here, or you can also donate. So for those of you that are feeling abundant, that are in a time of abundance, please donate. We are not asking for money for anything else this weekend. We often do fundraising. Well, tonight, let's make the fundraising be for the WBI.org. So please donate. I really would appreciate that. And if you are really in need, then go to where it says apply here. But let's everybody go there and do one or the other. Either apply if you're needing support, or donate. All right. So that's website number one. And then the second website is Shakti Durga's actual primary website. And it's her name, shaktidurga.com. And there's a lot going on here. She also has many, many meditations, courses. But this was especially interesting. Tell us about what's happening on July 23rd, Life Beyond Form.
So, this is a deep dive into what's happening in other fields of consciousness that we're capable of exploring, where there's a lot of keys to how it is we can unlock our full potential and get in really deep touch with our soul. So, we're looking at the other forms of life that exist on the inner world with us, just like there's so many forms of life in the physical world that we interact with. There are many amazing forms of life on the inner world as well, like the angelic realm, like the gods and goddesses of various traditions. It's so exciting to explore, but one needs to do it with safety and with discernment. And so we give people tools to be safe on the inner plane and to be able to be mystics without monasteries, as Carolyn Mace says, and to know that you can connect with your spirit guides, with these beings who love you so unconditionally, and they're really focused on helping you develop and be who you're meant to be. And so Life Beyond Form is something that I've developed over the last 20 years to really help people. And we do a lot of mystical meditations, a lot of very expansive getting in touch with the real soul essence consciousness within. And people have a lot of shifts in their outer life as well while they're going through this program.
So it starts on July 23rd. It's a live program. And now, what's the timing? Do we know what the timing is in Australia and what the timing is in the US?
We run it in 2 time zones, as we have folks all over the world who like to join in with us. So we have a time zone that suits the USA and another time zone that suits our European friends. And I don't have the details, sorry, right?
Okay.
But the time zone will suit America, that's for sure. So we have 5 sessions. They're also recorded, and various other resources are provided for participants. So it's something that really helps us understand how we're connected and how, there's so much going on the inner world that's of benefit to us, and we can tune into it.
Oh, thank you. And I know several people have really enjoyed working with you. My friend Josiane sings your praises, and of course Theresa and Jennifer do. So thank you so much for your service to the world. And we're really grateful to have you on the show, and look forward to supporting you. And please, everybody, let's support the WBI. Let's really do that tonight. And I'm going to go make a donation myself in a moment. So thank you so much.
And one quick request, Scott. I think Vina posted really quick, Theresa. Vina posted the mantra in the chat. If you can just double check that, try to post it again, because I know there was a lot of requests for your mantra. So over to you, Theresa. I just wanted to share that because it seemed like everyone wanted the mantra. If you wouldn't mind writing that in the chat.
There's just some. Oh, go ahead. Om Shanti.
Om Dom Durgaye Namaha.
Thank you, Shakti. And perfect. Yeah, great. Thank you. And Theresa, go right ahead.
Well, when you go to Shakti Durga's website and you just see the top fold, which half the time we arrive at websites and we just look at the top fold. And I just want to acknowledge this is that unitive narrative shift. At the top fold, all it says is more love than you've ever known. Like the invitation to go in and connect in with the imaginal cell that you are, and to align with life and to open up to your full radiance. It's like, that's all we need to know whether we resonate with wanting to access the resources here or whether we should move on. And I really want to acknowledge that if we stop trying to attract each other in by touching on the pain points. Oh, if you're feeling this, this is going to help you. and we start claiming the frequency that we're inviting an exploration around together in community, then we're doing a service to each other. And I can feel it in what you put there, and I want to claim it. Stop being distracted by anything trying to tell you that your pain is okay, and start being attracted to the things that say your brilliance is what we need right now. So I'm Shakti, I love you. It's time.
Yeah. And I can just feel so much love in this group with the participants, with the other presenters, and Scott, just what an amazing community you have. And truly, I think that in order to live the new narrative, community is really important. I don't know what others think, but, and we have our community too, which is through the Wellbeing Initiative. We have communities of inquiry around all kinds of things, around well-being, around spirituality, but it's inclusive and everyone's welcome. And you don't have to be a certain kind of person to be with us. It's just, we just love everybody and are so excited with all the different groups that are around the place, because I agree that unity does not mean monotony. It means that we can have diversity, doesn't it? And still, this is my flavor. So come and have a play in this flavor if you want to. And then you've got another flavor. But I think it's just like ice cream. I like lots of flavors.
Oh, thank you so much, Shakti Durga. I think it's time for some music. And so we are going to go back to some Jamishka and to integrate all this wisdom, all this love from Shakti Durga and Theresa and Jennifer. And music is such a wonderful way to do that. Welcome back, James and Ishka.
Hello.
Thank you so much. It is such a delight to be here in such wonderful company, as always.
Yeah.
And everybody's just doing their thing. So many different versions of the same song, as it were. And this song is related to that and related to our topic of tonight. And that is, this song is the story about the power of the individual. And it is also the story about the power of ensemble and the journey of how one can become the other. It's called Just One. Better on, better than just one, better than you are. Bad on one, better than become just one. One's enough to overcome, they say. One's enough to open all. The wall. Battle on, better cheer us on, better than you are. Bad on one, better better than become just one. One's enough to overcome, they say. One's enough to open the One's enough to overcome, they say. But what do they know? One's enough to open the world. One's enough to overcome, they say. But what do they know? One's enough to open the world. The world. The world. We gotta get it together. We gotta get it together. No matter the weather. We gotta get it together. Oh, we gotta go. We're gonna get it together. Gonna get it together. Gonna get it together. Gonna get it together. No matter what's the weather, gonna get it together. Gonna get it together. No matter what they're doing, us will get it together. All different kinds of people get it together. Get it together. Gonna get it together. Gonna get it together. Get it together. Get it together. Get it together. Get it together, now don't get it, gonna get it together. Get it together, 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 I know we're gonna do it, gonna get it together. Get it together, get it together. Get it together. No matter what the weather, gonna get it together. We're gonna get it together. We're gonna get it together.
Oh my. That was awesome. Absolutely awesome. You guys are great. Oh, I should turn my light on. Beautiful. Well, since my internet is being a little bit funky, I am going to turn it over to you guys to share screen and tell us all the ways we can support you.
Is it possible that you can put our websites up? Actually, I didn't have a
Oh, I can do it. I
share.
have, Scott, if you need me to, I think I have their website ready to go.
Can I just
Would that
say
help,
thank
Scott?
you? Can I just say thank you? Like, there's these moments where we go into that state together where we just like ride a current. And we just ride that current together, and we can feel it, and we can feel that we're all together, and we can feel the power of being all together. And in those moments, you almost want this like silent moment to come where we all just really acknowledge that we just danced the same dance. We just rode the same ride, that we were there in that moment, and that was potent. So I just wanted to say thank you. I felt that, and I felt the community responding, and I felt this solidifying of our experience of being one together. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Lovely.
That is among the finest possible outcomes of such a connection that we're all sharing right now. Thank you for that reflection.
Beautiful.
Agreed on all counts. Very much so.
So would it be better for Jennifer to bring up your primary website, or do you have something that you want to specifically bring up?
Sure. Well, we have two main worlds. We have our Jamishka world, which is really quite multimedia. We do music, we do curation, we do all kinds of things. And then Ishka, so we can talk about the Jamishka side for a moment. Well, one thing I can say is we have, like many, like yourself, Scott, and everyone here, this situation, this show, this gathering came from unusual times in the past few years. And we have shared in that journey. We have our own version of that was for 100 weeks in a row for 2 years, we did free broadcasts for communities all around the world. Everything from 6 to 60 to 600 to more, depending on the moment and whoever was there. And we just promised we would show up. And so we just finished our 100th show not long ago. And now we've actually been getting back to, like many, connecting in person with people. And also just like this, of course, remotely. And so it's been really a pleasure to pick those conchs back up and share them around. We just finished a wonderful tour, and our first tour out. Since then, we went to Big Island in Hawaii, got back a few weeks ago. It was wonderful. Had 2 weeks, 7 shows. Community just embraced us there. It's absolutely delightful.
And we're in Southern Oregon for the time being. We're helping to develop an institute for high human creativity with some dear friends here, and creating a space for people to come and be in artistic hermitage.
Among other things.
Among other things, and in connection with nature and the divine. So we've been putting a lot of effort into that collaboration. And we also, we're gonna have a little art show at the Elder Apothecary in Ashland, and also an artist reception, and bring some music to that on the first weekend of June. And we're also gonna perform at the end of June at Relaxpansion Fest at Jackson Wells Spring.
A lot of dear ones there.
Well, now it just so happens, since you mentioned that, Lloyd was with us earlier tonight, although I think he's not with us right now. And next weekend, the entire Awakening World weekend is dedicated to Relaxpansion. And so many of your Donna DeLore and many of the musical artists are going to be there, are going to be with us next weekend, playing music, talking about it, and I will be there live. I will actually get to hear you guys in person.
Awesome. Yeah, we're going to be, so I'm excited to see you there. We're going to perform there. I'm also helping to create a visionary art gallery there for the weekend as well, which is the other hat of Jamishka.
If I may, Ishka's going to grab some, in lieu of just the websites, we actually have some actual originals that she just went and got, since we were going hi-fi, lo-fi. So I will give a quick prequel to her art as she gathers those pieces. That'd be a fun way to share. She has some of her more recent pieces. But as many may know, and many may be new to it, Ishka has been doing wonderful art for many, many years, and many of our communities intertwined. And we are delighted to also create music for the paintings and back and forth. I'm going to give her some more room. I can be your mic stand.
We've got some interesting lighting happening right now. It's very blue, which actually is fitting for the introduction of this piece. It's called Indigo. And this was birthed out of a collective prayer when COVID, when we first went into quarantine. I just lunged for the canvas. And I reached out to everyone in my community and asked them what was coming up for them, and asked if I could put their energy and prayers and needs into a painting. What would that be, and what would that look like? And this is what emerged from that query, and I sat with
three-dimensional.
I sat with everyone's input, and I did a visioning meditation, and I just stirred all of what was coming up for everyone together into this meditation, and I got this really clear vision of a being holding the earth. And what's really fascinating about this image is that to me, it carries so much. There's this angelic presence, which I feel like a lot of us could sense, that we're all being held in this moment together, as challenging it as it has been and was becoming at the time, that we are all held by the grace of the universe as we are going through this together. And also tuning into that part of ourselves that needed to go inward and do some deep self-reflection, and tuning into the needs of the earth and what's coming up for us as a species at this time, and the loneliness that people are feeling as well. There's so much in this piece that I feel, and it goes with a song that I created called Indigo also. That's a prayer for this piece that goes with this piece that James and I have co-created.
Absolutely beautiful.
And yeah, so I just wanted to share that, and this piece is available also in my collection of original works. And I would really love to connect with more people in this community, especially with some of the speakers that you invite to this group, to find collaboration and how to create more visionary works like this with people who are doing such amazing work, just resonating so much with some of the speakers here tonight. So if that sounds inspiring or interesting.
Very much so. Very, very much so. That's where we are building community in different ways. So I'm sure that maybe Theresa Collins, Jennifer, certainly myself, we will think about how we can kind of start bringing more art, more expressive art like that into what we do. And please put into the chat box the website for your art, and then I'll pass that on to Facebook. And I'm going to bring my colleague here, Jennifer Hill, back on for anything she wants to share about Jamishka and your art, and then we'll go to our last presenter. Take it away, Jennifer.
I love it so much. And when you guys said Southern Oregon, I was literally Googling, because I'm going to be in Eugene in a few weeks myself. And I was like, oh, darn, I think you guys are further south. But as you were sharing, I was you never know. I was messaging a friend of mine who actually lives in Southern Oregon. I said, oh, you have to check out this group. They're amazing. They're going to be in your area. And I think that's what it's all about, is uplifting one another. And if we see something we love, whether it's art or if we hear music, share, and don't worry about what people are going to think or how it's going to be received. When we share from our heart, I think things are always received well. And that music and your artwork, oh my gosh, just so beautiful, and definitely came straight from the heart. Thank you both so much for sharing your heart and soul with us.
And the internet gods are letting me show their art site. It's Ishkala, I'm going to spell it ISHKALHA.com. And definitely you're going to want to put your name in there and make sure that you get on the email list.
I do have a discount going through the end of tonight, actually.
Just by chance.
For 20% off of everything in the art gallery.
What's the promo code for that? Is there a promo code for that, Ishka?
It's Surprise 20.
Surprise 20.
Yeah. It was kind of at my tongue-in-cheek at inflation too, just giving
a little
people
inflation
a little
relief.
Inflation relief. Yeah.
And if I may mention one more brief thing, again, we're big collaborators. We collaborate with each other on many levels and collaborate with many on many levels. And one of our other favorite things to do, we are spending a lot of time in Southern Oregon helping create this institute with a wonderful team. But we also are Bay Area based, so we've been in there for a long time as well. We're still from that area. And in both those areas and all up and down the West Coast and all around the world, one of our favorite things to do is to create custom curated events with people to be all different kinds of things, kind of everything you can imagine here and fold it outward with people such as all of you really that can gather such wonderful people together for positivity and creativity.
Especially around a specific intention, because then we have this coherence that we've been talking about all night.
We do that too.
You know, for us to be able to bring our presence, resonance, coherence, all of those things, and to really craft such lasting beauty together in community, and to have all these different pieces, the presenters and the music and the art and all of that. It's a beautiful tapestry. We need all of it.
And thank you for having us here. Always a delight.
Absolutely. Thank you. Look forward to meeting you at the end of June. And certainly we'll have you on the Awakening World again and again and again. And you can continue to develop friendships with all your new friends here.
Thank you so much, Scott, and everybody.
Thank you.
All right, Jennifer.
Well, last but not least, everyone, we definitely are. I'm so grateful to everyone who waited for Ashley Lee, who is a phenomenal healer. Not only is she a healer on om-heals.com, but she was born a healer. I mean, if we're being honest, I think Ashley has spent many generations, many lifetimes as a healer. She is a pediatric medical intuitive. She has incredible projects that she's working with. She has conscious projects for conscious children to help parents. I mean, Ashley, I don't know if you want to share the story, but it's stuck with me. One of the most beautiful stories I've ever heard in my life was the story that you shared with me about the child that you were working with in the ER, I believe it was, or it might have been in the NICU in the Children's Center in the hospital. Ashley was actually a nurse for 27 plus years. And the story that child's soul, talking about kind of closing out tonight's show, listening to our soul, empowering our purpose. Would you mind sharing that story, Ashley? It's one of my favorite stories I've ever heard.
Hello, everyone. Well, I'm so grateful to be here. And thank you, Jennifer, and thank you, Scott and Debbie and everyone. Jennifer, share with me which one. I have so many. And
you're just the one about the baby, how you were talking to the baby and the baby's soul contracts to help it. I think if it was having either heart or stomach issues, and it just like boggled my mind. I tell random people about your story. It's so inspiring.
Well, I think that one was a really very deep one. Is that the one you're speaking to about?
Yes, exactly. The very.
Okay.
Yeah.
So to let you all know, I've been a pediatric critical care nurse for 32 years, and I just retired last September. And I fully walked into my kuleana, as it's called. I grew up in Hawaii, and my interpersonal responsibility to becoming and being the energy healer that I was born into. And I was born with asthma and allergies and healed that about 12 years ago. And since that time of healing that, and you know, Alan, your story really stuck out too, for just a moment to say who we are and who we were and where we've come from. And, you know, I was born with asthma and allergies, and I don't know many newborns that are born with that. And it's really fascinating because I sense I was born a breatharian, but not really to breatharian parents. So I was being force fed. And then I decided to do victim consciousness for most of my life, being allergic to everything and not realizing that that's where I was really coming from. And then maybe not wanting to really be here on the planet in a body. So I manifested asthma and not wanting to breathe or be a part of breathing here. And it was my journey to learn how to love life, love being here, and love being a part of the process of supporting everyone inside of humanity. So I grew up in the awareness of oneness. And I didn't know that I did. I grew up as a physical surrogate, feeling everybody's pain and suffering because I was focused on that victim side. It's probably the reason why I became a nurse during college. And so what I recognized was that I wanted to learn how to support myself through self-healing through emancipated consciousness. And I didn't realize what that was, right? That's all an evolution for all of us. So I got to recognize that creating an opportunity, becoming an energy healer, helping people and supporting people from a nursing perspective, create self-healing. And back 10 years ago, no one was really interested in self-healing. It's very fascinating to bring that forward and to be here today. I've literally been crying with tears of happiness and joy that everyone here together is creating this unification and the unification narrative. And I've always called it oneness. I never knew anything other than oneness. But being born in oneness to a world that is alien to oneness or focused on duality and cause and effect and linearity and time constructs that are so challenging for others that may know how to walk through dimensions and other ways of being, that can bring in multiple focuses at the same time to really express our giftedness was something that inspired me to move through and become the energy healer for children and families. And so in that process, though, I've had many, many, many experiences with children. And one child I had who was in the intensive care unit, and he had challenges through his life. And he was telling me, don't touch me, don't touch me. And I said, what do you mean by that? And so I was holding him up and he was being tube fed with the formula through the nose. And we were supporting him medically to gain weight. And in that process, he shared with me, I connected mind's eye to mind's eye or heart to heart. I think it's being to being, and other people call it soul whispering. There's lots of different ways in which we can connect with each other. And he shared with me 13 other experiences that he had did that was significant perpetration to other people. And I said, with complete compassion, and after learning very, very deep zero pointing opportunities for conflict resolution by releasing judgments with complete and utter compassion for everything we experience in the world. He showed me he's 3 months old, and he showed me, and that's why he came in with congenital defects that were challenging his very life. And so we worked through him. I said, you ready? We're going to do it. So I held him up, diaper in hand, and stopped his feeds, and he was throwing up and had some GI distress. And so I said, let's go through it. Let's meet them soul to soul and conflict resolve. So I did. And by the 6th or 7th soul, he said, he said telepathically to me, he said, they were all perpetrators too. They were all victims. It's all of us doing victim perpetrator back and forth in that closed loop cycle that never gets better. I said, yes, that's what we're here to correct. That's what we're here to balance and harmonize. And so we did. We went through all 13 and we revisited him. I said, everybody good? And he said, yeah, everybody's good. And he looked at me. I put him down. He stopped throwing up. And I said, you can heal your body now. You don't have to pay this price anymore. And it was really an opportune moment. And he kept looking over my head and kept saying, like, what color do you see? You know, we all shine our light in lots of ways and have an opportunity to heal within. So I think that was the story you were referring to, Jennifer.
Oh my gosh, I'm in tears, Ashley, just as I was the first time you told me that. It's so true that, you know, we live in this victim perpetrator consciousness and that we inflict suffering on ourselves. And sometimes our soul does choose to go through hardships or to go through struggles, and that you were able to connect with in such a profound way as a nurse, you know, working with a 3-month-old child, and to help show that level of unconditional love and compassion. Imagine what if we could all reflect that to one another. You know, when we're putting ourselves down or putting other people in the world down, just going, no, we don't, we can stop that vicious cycle of victim perpetrator consciousness and we can choose a different path. And I so honor the fact that you shared that story with us tonight. Thank you so much, Ashley. And share with us your wisdom, because you are doing so much good in the world from your work as a medical intuitive, your collaborations with our friend Marguerite Chadwick, who's also incredible. Talk to us a little bit about the work that you're doing in the world right now, my friend.
Oh, so many initiatives, so many people who have guided me with business development and other development, which has been really a big challenge. I didn't want to do it the old way that others were speaking into, and I want to do it this new way. And I'm not really sure what that all is. I would love the kids to tell us how to construct business and opportunities for exchange of value in the ways that are so different than we've ever done before, ever. And so in some of these projects, what I recognized in becoming an energy healer and seeing children in my office, some people had asked me, what do you want to do? And I said, I'm here to support children being the truth of themselves. And then they said, how are you going to do it? And I said, with water. And I don't really know. And that was before Emoto put out his work. And so it's very fascinating to move through that. And then as they came out of my office and they said, now that I know the truth of who I am, what do I do? Where do I go? What do I be? Who do I see? What do I eat? Where do I go to school? And I said, I don't know. I think I need a social worker. But in fact, so I created this website called centerforconsciouskids.com. And I podcasted about 170 practitioners, pediatric practitioners and family practitioners that are helping kids and families learn to live consciously. And that was in 2017. And then COVID hit and we had podcasting went on a little pause. And in that pause during COVID and the lockdown, I went through many, many phases of learning to develop languaging and processes to support parents connecting with their children so that they could actually see through the challenges and look at the giftedness and then expand that giftedness within them. And that promoted the self-healing, especially with highly sensitive kids that are energetically connected and energetically sensitive. And so in that process, we created, my colleague and I, Annie Kalekar, created Leap of Consciousness. And so it's leapofconsciousness.com. And at that site, we created a whole toolkit that supports people connecting to their consciousness challenges and then learning how to zero them out, learning how to let them go permanently. And through that process, we have a conscious choice challenge that's 101 emails that lets you share, create a library in your email box. And that allows you to see the different consciousness challenges that we all have, their thought processes based in fear. And we have that opportunity to break apart that fear. And when we break apart that fear through conflict resolution, mostly through releasing our judgments about ourselves, about each other, and this opportunity for compassion to naturally flow into the relating. It optimizes the relating and it helps us move from this idea called me-centrism, like everyone's been talking about, and moving into us-centrism. And it's this idea of, we call it in service to us. As I take care of me for you, and you take care of you for me, together we come to the conversation, the experience, and the relationship full of love, with no needs for intentions or agendas, full of love, sharing our opportunities, our giftedness, and our well-beingness to each other freely, openly. We call it open source, pure essence consciousness. And so we step into these empowered states of being. And we have a 21 different empowered states. We actually have about 5,400 consciousness challenges that we face every day that are fear-based thought forms, fear-based consciousnesses that we can choose to correct in ourselves. And then when we clear that, and organically we stepped into empowered states of being, we emanate love, we emanate peace, we emanate harmony, we emanate these opportunities to optimize our relating with ourselves on the inner and the outer, with each other, and then with our environment altogether. And that way we can optimize this idea called us-centrism and oneness. And I've been living in the area of oneness for years now, more and more deeply, and connecting with individuals that are wanting to live in oneness also. And it's an odyssey to work together in these levels of synergy that we never knew we could create by ourselves. And so I'm so honored. And I've been to the Big Island too, the last 2 months, working on my newest project, which is, I don't even have it out yet. It's called Kuleana International, and it's Global Energy Mastery Schools, helping children and their families master their energy preconception to young adulthood, to support this oneness concept for all of the children that are born in oneness, not understanding how to navigate in a world of duality, to help us move this reset into the real world we choose to create, knowing that we are the proof we choose to create.
Thank you so much. And again, I'm going to go back to your website. It's leapofconsciousness.com. And you just scroll down a little bit and definitely make sure you put your name in and take the challenge. And this is beautiful what you put together. Thank you so much.
We also have a 12-week meditation program that is so amazing, that helps you go through. We created this once a week where you can connect to your inner guidance for 30 minutes. And my healer friend and I, Annie Kalakar, we connect with you live, time zone indifference, throughout the whole entire planet at 8 p.m. I think it's 8 p.m. we have different programs. And what we do is we deliver very specific energy transmissions for you to receive to help you work through this type of conflict resolution. And so that you experience and wake up to a new experience each and every day, feeling the peace within.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. What a blessing you are. And again, just great job, Jennifer, Theresa, for bringing in people like Ashley Lee. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Scott.
Absolutely. And here we go with our next and final part of the program.
We are one. We are one. We are one. Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, 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 oh. We are one. One love. We are one. One love. We are one love, yeah, yeah, one love, one love, one love, one love, one love, one love, one love.
You know, we really are building community. And so I've got some really wonderful announcements to share of other opportunities for us to continue to come together in different ways to create. And one of the first things is tomorrow, our Sacred Sunday show. And I'm going to bring Jennifer back on, hopefully ask her to turn her camera on. There she is, because she has, we're going to complete this amazing weekend with a beautiful show tomorrow morning that Jennifer and I will again be co-hosting. And Jennifer, tell us about the other 4 guests that you've invited.
Thank you, Scott. Yes, and we are so grateful to have more Om Heals practitioners, plus world-renowned medical intuitive as well. Kimberly Meredith will be sharing stories from her new book, Awakening to the Fifth Dimension. We have Haley Enright, who is an incredible Reiki practitioner and acupuncturist, who is on Om Heals. Shannon Leischner, who is at one point was one of the top-rated psychics in the world and mediums. She's done incredible work. I remember one time I went through a very, very challenging time personally, and she said, "Oh, do you want me to move that to the non-emotional side of your brain?" And this was probably 10, 12 years ago. And I was like, yeah, right. I do not believe for one second that you can remove this pain and anguish to the non-emotional side of my brain. And she said, okay, scale of 1 to 10, where are you now? I'm like, 10, it's awful. I'm in excruciating pain. And she said, okay, great, just breathe. And then to this day, Scott, if I try to go back to that memory that caused me the pain, nothing. I feel zero and nothing about it. So she is straight up magic. I love her. And then I love Vlada D'Souza as well. I was blessed to get to know Vlada at a retreat. She does these bliss body retreats and is also an incredible energy healer, past life reader. She actually has a retreat coming up in Italy. And I got to meet her at a retreat in Bali. And less than, I would say, a month and a half after doing the retreat with her, I met my soulmate, and I've been with him ever since. So they all do incredible work. I cannot wait to further explore listening to our soul and empowering our purpose with these wonderful people.
All right. Well, definitely please everybody join us tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock Pacific time, 1 o'clock in the Eastern time zone for our Sacred Sunday show. I should turn my light back on. Also, just want to encourage everybody that there's this movement taking place. When the pandemic first started at 8 o'clock in different time zones, people were going out and howling. I don't know how many people related to that who were doing that. Well, now at 8 o'clock in each time zone, visualizing world peace. And even if you are in prayer or meditation and it's not 8 p.m. where you are, just visualize and send it to the 8 p.m. vibe. It's kind of like a radio signal that we all are contributing to. Millions are doing this. And I want to acknowledge Jay Mayer, who has really taken a lead on getting this out to the world. So that's a pretty cool thing that's happening. Another wonderful thing, I'm going to bring on Alan Steinfeld. Alan is, of course, a frequent collaborator. He has been my co-host and colleague, similar to Jennifer this weekend. And he and Deborah Giusti from Saturday Night Live, my former co-host, have put together something very special. So, Alan, I'm going to turn it over to you to catch us up on what took place on Thursday night and where things are with Making Contact.
Well, thank you, Scott. I have to say, this is an especially beautiful, uplifting program. And the work Ashley's doing gives us a chance to complete the dramas that we've been victims to for the last 10,000 years. And when we complete that drama, we go to another level. We meet a bigger family. And that's what my work's about. How do we open to this bigger cosmos? So Deborah Giusti and I have put together a series called the Making Contact series. I'm going to show a little promo for that, because I think once we do graduate from this, there's a whole other set of adventures that just make life so much more fun and interesting. And thanks to the work you're doing, Scott, here, we're able to start to glimpse those other realities. So this is a little promo for the series Deborah and I are doing. We just did our first show last Thursday, and we have 5 more shows coming, but here it is. You see that on your screen, right, Scott?
Yes, we do.
Okay, let's see how this goes. From deep in outer space to planet Earth, to the red rocks of Sedona, to our online community here, comes a time, a message, a special series of Making Contact.
There is no better time for making contact. I'm George Norrie, host of the national radio show Coast to Coast AM. Alan Steinfeld has put together a well-conceived collection that covers it all.
Thanks, George, for that introduction. This is Alan Steinfeld, the editor and author of Making Contact, which is a collection of writings of the best and brightest people in the field of ufology. I'm putting together a special series of some of these fantastic contributors to my book. People like Whitley Strieber, Linda Moulton Howe, Carolyn Corey, Nick Pope, JJ and Desiree Hertog, Adam Apollo, the alien lady Mary Rodwell, and such contactees as Marina Sarin and Kamara Jones and the art of Kamara Jones, plus some very special surprises in the field. Please join me for this fantastic series of dialogues as I dive deeper into anything I've done before. For more information and for a complete description of the 5-week course, go to makingcontactseries.com. George, any final comments?
The contributions of all these people help to give insight into the multifaceted intentions of the phenomena, because Making Contact presents the opportunity for us to prepare to meet advanced civilizations. Someday, somehow in the future, the conflicts that have plagued our species for eons will come to an end. And by making contact, we will take our rightful place among the stars.
The Making Contact series is presented by Alan Steinfeld and New Realities, Deborah Giusti and the Global Peace Tribe, in association with Neil Gar, Portal to Ascension, and Star Family Wisdom. Join us for this online series, Making Contact, the New Realities of Disclosure and Cosmic Awakening, Thursdays beginning May 19th from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Pacific Time. To find out more and to sign up, go to makingcontactseries.com. See you there. So we are on the threshold of a new time and a new consciousness as we are welcomed into the rest of creation. But we have to rise to the occasion, and the work we've heard here today with Ashley and everyone helps us prepare our consciousness for a new unknown and a really exciting time. So this series is about how do we open ourselves to this threshold of humanity. And I'm really excited about the people that are on there. Danny Sheehan's on June 2nd, and then Linda Moulton Howe, Whitley Strieber. We have the best in the business, if you call it a business, to help us get acclimated to a new way of thinking about who we are as human beings. So thank you, Scott, and everyone's welcome to join us. And Ashley's smiling, so that's a good thing. Thank you, Ashley.
All right. Thank you, Alan. Great work. And that first episode that you guys did on Thursday night, people can go back and they can now listen to it to get a taste of what you're doing.
And that's free. That's a free episode. And the rest, it's whatever it is.
Okay, fantastic.
You go to makingcontactseries.com, you'll get the free episode and sign up.
Makingcontactseries.com.
Right.
Makingcontactseries.com. And we're putting it all in it's in the chat box.
Right.
Thanks, Alan.
Okay.
See you soon.
Yes, definitely.
So you heard us talk a little bit about the Relaxpansion Fest. And so this is going to be a really wonderful opportunity. I want to encourage two things. One, next weekend, our whole show, The Awakening World, is dedicated to Relaxpansion. And so a lot of the musical artists and a lot of the presenters who are going to be at Relaxpansion are going to be on our show next weekend, including Donna DeLore. She's coming back. She's going to be with us. And Pollyanna Bush, Shyla Ray, Sunshine, Josh Jaffe, and hopefully our friends that you just saw, Jamishka, will join us as well. They're checking their calendar. So we're going to have great music. We're going to have Lloyd, the creator of the festival, on the show. And also, I just want to encourage people, come to it. I'm going to be there. You can actually hug me. You can meet Jasmine Bear, right? All these things will be happening at the Relaxpansion Fest. It's the last weekend of June. It's in Ashland, Oregon. It's going to be a really fun time. So hopefully you'll join us next weekend on The Awakening World. A lot of our friends are going to be involved. There's Pollyanna Bush and Honey of the Heart. You've seen them on my show. Almost all of his musical artists have been on either Saturday Night Live or The Awakening World. Zarina, also known as Snow Raven from Olax, she's going to be with us next weekend. So it's going to be really, really fun. So that's what's happening. All right. Well, we're going to have a couple final thoughts from Jennifer, and then we're going to close it out with some music with Omar Shah, our house musician. Jennifer, it's been quite an evening. Thank you again for putting together this beautiful show.
Thank you, Scott. And it's really to tie in what we've been discussing all weekend and listening to the soul and the unitive narrative. It's not anything I did or anything you did. It was really our energy. It was the beautiful energy that every single person shared, all of the comments in the chat, all of the people watching, wherever and whenever you're watching from. It's really your consciousness that contributed to this, because it's only from our consciousness that anything can be birthed in the world. And so I think that we can all agree from the beautiful music from Jamishka and Dr. Mama Ivy, who had to leave a little bit earlier, as well as all of our wonderful presenters, including Shakti Durga, Ashley Lee. We had Theresa Collins, who I think is still here with us, Adam Hall, Julie Krull, Just so much love from everyone who's been here with us all evening from the very beginning. It's about adding heart, adding soul, and asking ourselves, how would the world shift? How would we shift if we began to listen to our soul, empower our purpose? I think that when we practice that idea of deeper listening, it gives us access to hearing things we might not otherwise hear. And it is a practice. It does take practice to clean the glass, clean the space between ourselves and others. And a final practice I would love to leave everyone with, that is something that one of my teachers taught me several years ago. Every night before I go to bed, I invite you, you don't have to, you could, you can write down, how could you have lived today better? And perhaps look at it from a soul perspective, look at it from a unitive narrative, a unified perspective. How could we have lived today better? Were there times where we might have been able to share an extra smile with someone, or been thoughtful and done something and gone that little extra mile? Or maybe there were times where we didn't honor ourselves. Maybe we put someone else's needs above our own and sacrificed ourselves. And so you get to almost do an accounting, an audit of this before you go to bed every night. And then, of course, you follow that up with, what are you proud of yourself for? What are the things that no one will ever know you did? Maybe it was spending these couple hours on here where you were working on yourself, expanding your consciousness. Maybe it was not eating that second piece of cake or going for a long walk with your dog or your friend. And so acknowledging yourself and giving yourself that internal validation, so that way you're cherishing and appreciating yourself and your soul. And then maybe making note of one or two things that you're grateful for, maybe noticing any beautiful synchronicities, a speaker who said something, or a musician who shared something that really resonated, and write down those moments of synchronicity, awe, and miracles. And when we do this, do any one or all of these parts, we begin to really connect to the true essence of our soul and our soul. So thank you so much, Scott. Thank you to each and every one of you who tuned in today, and just wishing everybody a beautiful rest of your weekend, and looking forward to seeing you tomorrow for the 10 a.m. show.
Thank you, Jennifer. You are such a gem to work with. All right, we are going to close out with music. He started as somebody who's an observer who's watching the awakening world and part of that Saturday Night Live. And he's basically become the house musician. He helped us get the technology going today. And of course, I'm talking about beautiful, beloved brother Omashar. Omashar, what do you got for us tonight?
Just thank you for the beautiful show. And Jennifer, I know that in Lisbon, it's 5:15 in the morning, so holy smoke.
It's okay, it's priceless. Time is irrelevant. Space-time doesn't exist anyway, so it's an old construct I'm letting go of.
Yep. Very cool. And so I got so much to say, so I won't say anything. This is a prayer, so let's just take a few deep breaths. Let's go inside. Maybe close your eyes. You don't have to watch me unless you really want some visuals, and just feel this prayer. And it's called This Heart of Mine, and it's from my Illuminate album, I think. One of those albums. Love you all. Hope springs eternal in this heart of mine, learning surrender, learning to fly, knowing you're with me, my invisible friend. Loving me onwards, calling me out of myself. Here I go again, trusting in life. All the tears I've cried, clearing the way. All that's been said and done is turning to dust. And now that I'm here again, I will sing praises to the maker of my life. I will sing praises to the maker of my life. Knowing you love me and that we're divine, my heart is open, my heart is thine. I give my life to you, your hands in this world, open and flowing, calling me out of myself. Here I go again, trusting in life. All the tears I've cried, clearing the way. All that's been said and done is turning to dust. But now that I'm here again, I will sing praises to the maker of my life. I will sing praises to the maker of my life.
Thank you so much, beloved Omashar. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. You can find Omashar's music on YouTube and Spotify. And how's your website coming together? Is it better?
You can pop it up, but there's a couple of things missing. It has the Global Tribe on there, which I was one of the main thing, Global Peace Tribe. But you can sign up for the mailing list on omashar.com. And that will give you all sorts of free things.
Well, you know what? I'm in somebody's.
Okay.
It's some websites are coming up for me, and others I get this security thing. It's a weird place where I am.
It's an insecurity problem.
There it is. Omashar, I love you so much. Hopefully we'll see you tomorrow morning.
Thank you so much. Blessings.
And hopefully we'll see everybody tomorrow morning. I'm going to go to Gallery View. Look at all these beautiful souls we got to spend the evening with. And thank you, each and every one of you. Thank you, everybody watching. And big love to those of you who are watching our recording. We care about all of you. Thank you. See you tomorrow morning for the Sacred Sunday Show. Good night, everybody.